Hey everyone, welcome to the Spring 2015 North American Challenger Series playoffs. I am David Victorli. Alongside me is Aiden Zyrene Mood. I don't have actually a good...
You were speechless there for a second.
Yeah, I realized that, I was petrified like looking at Medusa, and then I finally overcame it because my force of will is so darn strong. We are now in the second round of the Spring Challenger playoffs, and tonight the battle is for third place and the final spot in the summer promotion tournament to join the LCS. Now, last week, TDK and Enemy Esports both won their best of 3 matches. Those guys will butt heads in the finals tomorrow night on the LCS stage in Los Angeles.
And Team Fusion and Final 5 lost their matches, leading to tonight's epic showdown for the last spot in the promotion tournament. At the end of these playoffs, first place automatically enters the LCS, replacing Team Coast this summer. And then second and third will compete against Team Dignitas and Winter Fox in the summer promotion tournament for a chance to win those spots.
It's going to be all kinds of fun. Now, the battle for the promo tourney begins tonight in just a few minutes. As you get ready, let's break down tonight's match between Team Fusion and Final 5. So all the teams chose to pick blue for their relevant side. So starting on the blue side is going to be Team Fusion. And this is an interesting team because last December, they were one single game away from joining the LCS in the NALCS Spring Expansion Tournament. However, they barely failed. They lost a comeback victory to Team Coast. They started out 2-0. Coast with the next 3. Coast, of course, joined the LCS this split. Pretty heartbreaking overall. But since then, Fusion, they joined the Challenger Series, and they were a total favorite coming in. They were probably one of the top 2 teams in most people's minds, but they've been really inconsistent since then, and they've actually been kind of on a downward slope, and here they are in the third place match.
Yeah, up against 2 people from that Team Coast that actually took them down.
That's true.
So Team Fusion, they're a group that does revolve around their AD carry, though, Nian Tanso. Now, when this guy is at the top of his game, he carries them to a victory. He has some of the best late game score lines for an AD carry in Challenger. He actually is the #1 in terms of performance late game.
Yeah, he's been absolutely great late game, but getting them through the early and mid game is one of their better players. Their mid laner, Huhi, this guy has been actually extraordinary overall. His assassins are great. When they win, he looks amazing. When they lose, sometimes he still looks amazing. For example, he had like a 6-2-3 LeBlanc game last week against TDK. This guy can be absolutely awesome, but we got to see which Huhi shows up because he also had like a 0-7 Diana game. So you got to know which one actually shows up there.
Yeah, it's one of those things where that guy likes to split push in the late game and it's kind of counterintuitive to their style, though, because they want to have protection for Nian. They want to have multiple threats in the fight with him. But if Huhi's going to be split pushing all the time, especially on champions like LeBlanc, where he should be in the fight bursting somebody, it can be a problem.
Yeah, well, we have to see how these guys can finagle all the resources, because meanwhile, on the red side is Final 5. Their retooled lineup we saw about a month ago. They've still got a lot of the same players, but of course, these new guys we talked about. We'll talk right now about Veritas, their AD carry. This guy right now is #2 in solo queue. His late game is actually amazing. His KDA is overall really good, and this team came into the playoffs as 4th seed. The fact that he's got this good of a scoreline with that is pretty impressive. His CSD at 10 is really low. You can attribute this to the fact that he's played with 3 supports so far this split. That's getting kind of hard. Also, his laning phase in general has been one of his weaker points, but it's getting better, actually. So I expect good things from Veritas in this series.
Yeah, a lot of AD carry-centric matches coming up here. A lot of kill share on both those guys. But the team's other significant additions are Sheep, one of those supports for him, and Impaler from Team Coast, the guys who took down Fusion last time. But Impaler's been the one providing them in Final 5 with numerous early opportunities. This guy facilitates the early game, but they have had problems closing out games off of Impaler's early success.
Yeah, and Impaler's one of these guys who is still trying to play these early game aggressive junglers, the Lee Sin, the Nidalee, even Rengar still around for this guy. So I want to see, as we always talk about junglers here in 5.6 and beyond, what style they're going to play. If he's going to play Sejuani or stick with the Lee Sin, we'll have to see what happens. Now, Final 5 is an interesting team because they got those 2 players over from Coast, Sheep and Impaler. They joined in, but these guys haven't won a single game since those players got picked up.
Yeah.
To mitigate that somewhat, all those losses, that 0-6 record, they're against like Enemy Esports and TDK, the guys in the finals, so they're better teams than them, but still 0-6 with this roster, not the best sort of place to come from coming into the 3rd place match, because the guys still haven't won a game on camera yet.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about this matchup between Final 5 and Fusion, though, like you talked about how since they picked them up, they're 0-6. But last time they played each other, they didn't have these guys on the squad. In fact, both these teams looked a little different. A Wild Mimo was in for that first week when Fusion was playing, so Nintendo hasn't faced off against Final 5, and Impaler and Sheep haven't either.
That's true.
Faced off against Fusion. So both these guys have a lot of questions about what's going to be played in this game, what styles are they going to see against each other.
Yeah, well, thankfully for both these guys, they got to see those teams in action last week. We saw them in the semifinals in the Challenger Series, and Fusion looked
They threw a
heartbreaking.
really big lead.
Yeah, Fusion have actually done a pretty good job of getting early game leads overall. The big weakness we tend to see with Fusion is they seem very, very lost mid-game. You talked about Huhi is split pushing all the time. You're not really sold on the fact that that's a really a good idea for Fusion overall, who could group up and push objectives down.
I feel like if they're going to go for it, they go hard on it. Get him Zed, get him something that he's going to split push on very effectively. Because right now their problem is Nian, he gets ahead, and then they try to group up, and then they try to push down turrets. But as a 5-man squad where they're like, all right, we didn't kind of formulate a 5-man squad pushing, like no siege, none of this stuff. It's all Nian at that point.
Right.
So it's like they go for individual lane strength, and then they group up, and they're like, wait a second, now we can't end the game because we don't have any late game kind of win conditions. Yeah,
and that's kind of the problem. These guys seem to not know how to close games out. That's really the thing. And they'll look at Baron a whole lot, and then Baron will like screw up for them, and they'll essentially
they'll look at it.
They'll look at Baron. Baron will look at them back. They'll take some damage, and they die in front of Baron, and the enemy team gets it. That's kind of the story of Fusion. But oddly enough, it's kind of the story of Final 5 as well, right? It's Sheep and Impaler left Coast, but Coast never left them. These guys have, like, honestly, both these teams, like Baron is their opponent's MVP and kind of for both these teams here. Yeah, it's the late game calling, and these teams have similar styles where their early game's pretty good, their AD carries win them team fights, and then they don't know how to close games out despite having a gold lead oftentimes. And so you got to figure out how well these teams are still learning. And okay, look, Fusion, they have a bit of a new lineup, okay, that kind of matters to them, but that core talent's been there forever. Nintendude and Neon Tanso, and these guys have been playing together for basically ever, as far as the length of Challenger Series teams is concerned. And it's just surprising that they still haven't figured out how to kind of properly put the inputs in 25, 35 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and that's the thing too, is that once you get past like the laning phase, and then you're like, okay, that seems pretty solid for a Challenger team. The calls, when they're kind of all over the place, is really concerning, especially since the winner of this match has to play Winterfox or Dignitas.
True.
The question is, can you even survive the laning phase there against those teams? So that's something that I'm concerned with whoever wins this game. How are they going to perform against one of those two teams? Because if your calls are not that great later, both those teams are going to capitalize off of that because they have a whole season of LCS experience under their belt as a team that they can punish you very easily.
No, absolutely, and it is a difficult road for these guys. I mean, overall, we're in the playoffs here, in top 4. Like, these teams are guaranteed to at least stay in the Challenger Series. So these guys still have jobs more or less coming up. They're still going to be competing in the summer split. The question is, which league will they be competing in? Winner of this match gets to try to compete in the LCS. We'll see if they can win the BO5 against Digger Winterfox there. It, of course, will be tough, but that's what's on the line here. If you want to get in the LCS, you win this BO3 and you win the next BO5 in a couple of weeks.
Yep. That's the big thing there. But cleaning up your calls, that's going to be the whole part of this entire match up here, is those late game calls. How are your rotations? How is your punish game? Because right now, both these teams, a lot of question marks because they both messed it up.
Absolutely. A lot of question marks here, but we'll see what the answers end up being. Urgot right away banned off by Team Fusion. Lulu away from Final 5. And of course, we have to see what team comps end up bringing. I think we do see the more different kinds of team comps now than we have in a while in League of Legends. If you watched the European Challenger 3rd place match, you would have seen a basically full tank team from Reason Gaming, where they run like Urgot and they get the Smite Shyvana up there. You can see Juggernaut, you can see big AoE Wombo teams. Gonna have to see what these guys actually want to do. Right now though, Fusion just removing a lot of tanks. They will not get Nintendude Sejuani, but of course, we've seen a lot of people bring up new tank junglers that have been very effective, like Gragas.
Yeah, Gragas has been very popular. He kind of still has that early game aggression, level 3. You can gank right off of that. He comes out of the jungle pretty healthy, so you can have that early game presence and still a late game team fighter.
Yeah.
But the Urgot ban is actually a little confusing to me because Fusion and Final 5 both played at mid, and Huhi walked away with a win on Urgot.
Yeah.
So he actually has good experience, good proficiency on that champion that he's shown. So the fact that they're first banning it instead of first picking that is a little concerning. It does leave the fact that he could get a Zed for himself and split push because Urgot is the counter to Zed right now.
It is always surprising me, though, that teams that will first ban a contested champion when... Yeah, right. It's always strange to me that you would do that here at the very start. But Fusion, of course, they're going to have their own plans. They've been practicing for this match for about a week. They knew they'd face Final 5 ever since Wednesday night. This is the match in front of them. They would have all these picks and bans planned out. This is their plan after all. So 30 seconds to go. They're taking plenty of time with this pick. Of course, Final 5's bans would be unknown, and the hover on Rek'Sai, interestingly. So, the two probably biggest tank junglers in my mind in Sejuani and Nautilus. You could argue Gragas is above Nautilus in the tier list. Actually, Zac above Nautilus in the tier list. But two tank junglers banned all the same. I don't even know why you hover Rek'Sai this long. Like, pick something or don't, you know? I guess they're discussing, but...
Yeah. Well, Impaler,
Okay.
they had a lot of bans towards him. Impaler pulled 4 out of the 6 bans in the previous series last time that Final 5 was playing. So kind of not choking his champion pool too much at all in these bans. They decided to go for more all across the board here, deny the Nautilus from Sheep, and then take 1 from each lane. So a little confusing, but Chunky Fresh, he does get that Hecarim for himself. So I like the fact that he's going to have something that can pressure Rux, because both these top laners like to just sit in their own world for a bit. They don't have a lot of kill participation. They like to just split push.
Hey, it's interesting to me somewhat. Chunky Fresh has been playing mostly tanks and sort of late game scaling tanks. Team Fusion, again, a team where we say I think a lot of teams actually will pick just late game champions to sort of cover for the fact they might not have great late game shot calling. If they can get an early game lead regardless and then just scale up with like a Scion, then life is good. But more of an early game champion in Hecarim. Trinity Force power spike early on. You build tanky from there, but your power curve spikes and slightly falls off over time, so a bit more early game pressure overall from Fusion. Final 5, meanwhile, they're going to get themselves Rek'Sai after all for Impaler. He pulls a tank ban and picks up a fighter anyway. Of course, Nidalee's still on the table as well as the rest of the tank lineup here. Morgana, we'll have to see where it goes. You expect Sheep to play it. He's quite good at the champion overall, but we'll see if he ends up picking up something else. And that ends up being a solo lane Morgana. Fusion do go for Gragas themselves, so 2 tank junglers gone, they grab a 3rd. And Fusion primarily hiding most of their champions here, hoping to get a counter pick on one of these other lanes. Just the blind pick Hecarim is all.
I do like the fact that they picked up the Morgana for Sheep very early on. They banned away his Nautilus, so give him another pick champion. He is a very good Thresh player, but his Morgana was something that he kind of had passed it a little bit while he was in the LCS.
Yeah.
He ended up getting better at that champion than his Thresh, because he didn't get to play it too often.
That's true. You're right. I don't know why I thought Nautilus was banned as a jungler here as opposed to a support. I think Nautilus is actually more seen as support there. So yeah, you're right. That goes away from Sheep actually. So to take it all back, no bans at Impaler whatsoever. And he got Rek'Sai. That was the single champion that Impaler wanted to play, all said and done with picks and bans. Final 5 now to take some time for themselves. Fusion, by the way, this actually could look eerily similar to that big bruiser comp we saw from like Reason Gaming earlier today, although with Urgot banned, maybe that's less likely, but defensive supports, beefy frontline. You could Kog'Maw here. He would probably be safe.
You could pick a Kog'Maw here because there's a lot of disengage. When you do pick a Protect the Kog'Maw comp, there aren't any junglers that really supplement or give him shields, except for like Lee Sin, because he also has a disengage move.
Right.
So if you don't get that, and since Lee Sin isn't that great in the meta, you want something like Gragas, who has multiple forms of peel for him and a disengage.
Yeah, so overall a more generalist team so far. Final 5, they go for the Gnar versus Hecarim matchup. Interesting. We've not seen a lot of Gnar in a while. Rux, someone who is still holding on to the champion for the last little while. He played it against enemy Esports, actually against the Hecarim of Flares, and came out of that lane like 4-0 or something. So Rux, a big fan of this champion in the top lane, specifically in this matchup here, and we'll see if he can keep that Hecarim bullied out. Meanwhile, team fight comp coming in. Morg, Sivir, great at setting up fights and following through on them. We just have to see what Gate ends up playing in the mid lane here.
Yeah, I want to touch on the Gnar into the Hecarim, because Gnar, it's all about the lane bully. You're not going to out wave clear him. You're just going to continue, because Hecarim's going to wave clear pretty much as he tries to sustain through it. So the wave will always be pushing towards the Gnar, and you get to harass him. But they both, like, and here's the thing too, is they both have kind of big differences in lane swaps. Hecarim's a little bit of a better jungler. He doesn't have that flash. He's very gankable. It's true. Gnar has multiple ways to lock you up and allow ganks to get to him. So there's a lot of pressure here that could be exerted onto the top lane by Final 5. A Rek'Sai Gnar does a lot against a Hecarim.
Absolutely.
And if they lane swap it, you still have kill pressure on the Hecarim if he shows up into the lane. Gnar's a little harder to lock down.
I mean, Gnar's even like a good 1v2 in the first place. Exactly. He can actually farm with boomerangs and such. So Fusion, by the way, I want to touch on this. Mid lane Annie coming out here, I'm guessing.
Mid lane Janna. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, to be fair, that could be the case as well.
It's mid lane Annie.
No, I mean, to be fair, like there's a real reason you could play mid lane Janna, but yeah, Janna, Annie, the last 2 pickups here, so I like this a lot. I think mid Annie's actually very, very strong. The last time we really saw her was probably playing her as a counter to Yasuo, but I think she's actually very good in her own right. Gets blind picked here. Vladimir comes in for Final 5, so mid lane Vlad going to be here. Team fight comp overall, right? Sivir, Morgana already good at team fighting. We'll want to add a Vladimir here. Why not add Gnar, where you can get the rage and you can lock them all down. The ability to do 5-on-5 actually quite good from Final 5, but also, I mean, Fusion's got a good comp for the same thing. These look, in my first glance, fairly similar in their goals.
Team fights.
Yeah.
Both want to team fight you. They do have a little bit more, like both teams have split push.
Fusion Siege is better.
Yeah, that's the thing, is Fusion just have a little bit better siege because the wave clear of Final 5 is all Veritas. And it's not even that long range. So their siege is a little risky.
Well, I mean, the big thing with Final 5, though, is, right, if they have good split pushers, and again, we're trusting the fact that, that this Gnar is going to get ahead of Hecarim, and I think that so far from seeing the results and seeing him pick the champion again, I think it's safe to expect Gnar to have a good landing phase on Hecarim and have a good chance at staying ahead and having the one-on-one lead. I think that's the expectation coming in for Final 5. So let's roll off of that in the first place and assume that actually will happen. The team fight picking then, right? You've got a lane with pressure. You've got a lane with a pressure lead, right? Gnar beating up Hecarim. You assume this will still happen. Could go either way, but you assume. They can pick fights off of bindings, off of Sivir ulti, and then just running the heck in there. Rek'Sai's engage, not great, but a Sivir ulted Morgana is decent. And there's not a lot of escape tools overall from the other side anyway. Okay, Janna, but you can Black Shield that. Jinx, no escapes. Annie, no escapes. Gragas, again, you can knock back, but you've got Black Shield for that. So there's a somewhat hard but real chance of Final 5 splitting the team up a little bit and actually getting some engages on. On Fusion side, though, it's like Gragas, Annie, Hecarim, like really dedicated, hard engaged champions that are much harder to outplay and generally much more reliable.
Yeah.
And so then this all comes back to me as if Hecarim does lose to Gnar, you can pick team fights better, but you're on a clock as Gnar keeps pushing you around.
That's true. And the Gnar, you always kind of see when he's going to engage, right? It's always very telegraphed.
I mean, all of Final 5 is very telegraphed, yeah.
Yeah, it's all very telegraphed there, like you said. But Fusion, they can pick the fights a little better. People are a little more punished for mispositions, though, off the Morg binding and like people running at them with the 5-man engage from the Sivir. So that's kind of the difference here between the teams. You can punish people very heavily with an Annie as well.
Yeah.
So
you got it.
Excuse me. A little bit of dry throat.
It's okay.
But yeah, just looking at the teams here, and mid Vladimir is something that has come to a big surge. So I actually want to touch on that a little bit, because mid Vlad, people were like, Vlad's always a top laner, right? Like
yeah, back in the day.
He's been a top laner for a very long time. But the big reason that he's played in the mid now is just the scaling of him. He has a lot of great scaling. His items are basically have extra stats on them from his passive.
Right.
And it becomes a farm lane. He has constant sustain,
Wants to farm,
constant wave clear. And the reason that he's played middle more often than top now, for the most part, and he seems to be a little more effective there, is twofold. One, you get to take Ghost, because you don't have to take Teleport.
Right.
So you get Ghost and you get Flash. You always want Ghost on him, because that's his late game consistent damage ability that helps him get that damage out.
Ether Wisp, bro. Just get move speed. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and also the W, the Sanguine Pool, the duration of it, the escape is better in a smaller lane than a long lane.
That's true.
Because the long lane, you're very gankable in the top lane as a Vladimir, and you have no gank assistance, and a lot of ganks want to go off to those sides for the most part.
That's true.
Middle, it's easier to avoid them, and you don't even have to set up those ganks. You just keep shoving.
Yep. Well, we'll see how the mid lane Vladimir ends up going. Now, guys, one of the players did have a problem loading into the game, so the game is being remade right now. The same picks and bans will be there for that game. We will get back into the game as soon as possible. In the meantime, we're just going to talk about team comps and how these teams will end up playing out. So one thing I do want to talk about as well is actually the scaling on these teams, because Fusion, again, Hecarim, I feel like he's going to start dipping out for a little while, and he is in what I consider to be kind of a rough lane. I guess Gragas will outscale the Rek'Sai. Annie will get outscaled by Vlad. Jinx will probably outscale Sivir, although she can pick team fights, just the damage output from that champion. And then just, late game, like, probably Magi, Soulstealer, Janna probably going to give a lot of extra AD to Niantanso. Like, you think how these comps kind of pan out, and it's like Niantanso is like the hope of Fusion on Jinx, praying that he gets to 6 items if they have to get that far.
They have a lot of peel for him, too.
Right.
You have Annie stun, you have Janna disengage, you have Gragas disengage. Hecarim can be used a little bit as a disengage tool. He's like another threat. So Fusion really get to pick their fights. And like you said, Final 5, their engage is Sivir ulti or a Morg binding pick.
Run at you.
Or Gnar jumps in, right? It's so telegraphed. And with the Janna, Gragas, you get to see those coming. You get to knock them back. So flanks here are going to be very important. And Rux is going to have to be on his TP game, or else I don't really see them getting into the fights before Fusion really want them.
That's true. I think you're right about that, where it is harder for Final 5 to get the fights they want. Just the problem is we've seen these teams play League of Legends for the last few weeks, few months, and Fusion tends to misposition quite a lot.
Yeah.
Actually, one of the big moments I remember is their semifinal against TDK, where They went for Baron, got punished for it, lost an inhibitor for it as well, and still lost the fight. The other one being against TDK in like week 3 or something, where there was this amazing Seraph TP in the back line, pops an ult on the end, the guy gets one shot, and the fight's over. And so these TP flanks definitely are available, I would say, for Final 5. And you know, if Rux can TP with a lot of fury, then life goes really well overall. Now, guys, we're about to load ourselves into the game, so as we do that, we want you to tell us who you think is going to take this match, and you know, if they do take the match, of course, they can compete for an LCS berth in the summer promo tournament. Guys, tweet at Esports with either hashtag FSN win or hashtag F5 win, and we will share your votes online in just a few minutes here. Going to get ourselves loaded up, and it's going to be a very interesting game then. Basically, Nian Tanso, the pride and joy of your late game for Fusion, and this team hoping to have enough hard engage to make it work all the same. Final 5 hoping off of some, I think, really good lanes for the most part. Early pressure from Impaler's Rek'Sai, an early lane from Rux, and we'll see if they can do it. Yeah, and the early wave clear from the Sivir as well. Big question marks here, though, for both these teams in the late game. The laning phase, see what Impaler does to affect these lanes. I don't know how much he's going to be able to affect the middle, because Huhi, if he gets camped by Nintendude and they find a way to pick on Gate, then it's going to be actually very, very interesting to watch, because a fed Annie can just take over the game. We'll see if Huhi can take over. Right now he's just battling Gate in the mid lane. No big deal, losing some health back and forth, whatever. It does allow him to get his stun up a little bit, so that's the only thing there. Yeah. He gets a couple rotations of his Q off. I can't imagine there's real kill pressure in this matchup, though. No. Gate is not running magic resist glyphs, so the ability to get one shot is a little bit higher. Yeah. It's going all in on that AP. Huhi, meanwhile, is getting magic resist, so the threat much lower than Nintendude. Gets the reverse Scar award. Good job. I don't see that ward go down almost ever, actually. The ward on the other side of Baron, but either way, whatever. It's risky. Yeah. So right now, mostly shallow wards on all sides here. No deep wards. Fusion did put a few past the river, but they won't spot anything useful. And I don't believe they were put down late enough to watch like a jungler going red to blue like right away. Yeah, I'm really surprised that nobody got those lane wards that allow them to see the lane swap coming out. Nobody forced it, especially since Fusion are always going to lane swap you because they want Nian to have that good early game. Ooh, tricky play by Fusion. They want to stop the Krug start here at 155 and immediate move. Final 5 like, all right, we'll just go Raptors instead. So this is part of why they don't go for the deep wards. They don't, Fusion playing battle lines kind of allows themselves to not get spotted out very much. They go for the invade. I guess they get to steal Krugs, and Nian actually, wow, he messed up the, he didn't run to the brush, he ran down, and I don't know if that actually makes the freeze worse or better. Well, both lanes not really getting their freeze on in the perfect way. You can still fast shove these, though. Veritas is going to get a freeze. Yeah, he's going to get it. The top lane, I have to check on that and see. Yeah, well, you can keep us on this one. Final 5. Continuing their jungle plane, it looks like we're going to have an equal buff trade overall. Yeah, Nian's is going to shove. Oh, it's going to shove forward. Well, yeah. At the very least, they've completely got Final 5 sequestered on the other side of the map right now. So if they wanted to go for like a 3-camp, rush the turret down at 3 minutes, that's totally doable. The cannon wave is right now spawning and walking into the lane, so Fusion could use that cannon wave to push in. And you can see a couple more autos coming in. Nian looks like he will push this in on that wave. But with Trance recalling, I really think that Fusion should just push down a fast turret because they don't have a freeze. And you have Janna, which is one of the, like, Janna Jinx is probably the best, outside of Tristana, I guess, like the best early game turret taking combo. But instead, a bit of a greedy play. Fusion, Nintendo doesn't spot the rest of Final 5 going in for this red buff, but he is taking a somewhat greedy camp by taking Raptors here. Okay, instead they want Chunky Fresh to get XP. They're going to send Janna see this down there. Nintendude coming around the corner. He knows it's aggro, but there's almost no way he can take this. Trinkets it, says, okay, well, the camp's dying. And Nintendude uses the Raptor buff. He's not going to clear the ward. He does get level 3, though, so Nintendude being level 3 is pretty important because he's going to have his body slam for this. Dang, it's going to be a 3-on-4 right here. Knockup from Trance. These guys look like they will stay safe, and Chunky Fresh, to get out of his early game, is going to start gaining XP. So right now, Fusion is getting more experience than Final 5 on the map. They can't get it. They can't. Wow. This. Okay. So they choose not to fast push. Instead, they choose to defend the turret in a 3-on-4, and they are successful here.
There's a
Rux TP's top.
couple reasons why that happened. Nintendude was on that side level 3, so he has all of his abilities available to him. The body slam, you get that at level 3 as Gragas. It allows him to completely stunt it, and Impaler doesn't get those extra camps, so he doesn't get 3, and he doesn't get his move block to close the distance.
Oh wow, you're right. They denied level 3 from Impaler. Yeah, that's a big deal here. Okay, so we're back to roughly equal lane for the 2-on-2 in the bottom lane, although an unorthodox one with Gianna Hecarim, but to each their own. Spell shield, good job Veritas. And of course the 1-on-1 top.
But the fact that Hecarim is getting farm in this lane is very important for Fusion, because we were under the assumption that he's going to be paired up against the Gnar, and if he does, it's a losing lane matchup. So he actually ends up with Cloth 5 at the start, so he can survive this lane as long as possible.
Yeah. And it could look good, but Impaler is sneaking into the wardless, escapeless top lane here. Naris, Half Fury, jumps in, forces the flash from the end, but that is a flash down and an easy repeat gank.
That's a very quick flash from Niantanso, because you don't really see that tunnel come out until the move block is almost 3/4 the way done on the second.
Oh, really?
On the end of it. Because it doesn't appear right at the start. He's going to go back through. He has it. Oh!
Flash knockup, smites in, got Chilling Spot already. Niantanso has no flash, but there's going to be a stun coming in. Nintendude rejoins the battle. And of course, there is the root from Nian. Is there going to be enough damage? Now both champions down to 200 health. Nintendude lands the body slam, misses the house toss from Rux. Zap's going to land, Barrel's going to land, heal comes in, first blood Nintendude X, and the gank has been foiled.
All of that attention to Niantanso's lane from Nintendude. Niantanso didn't clear that tunnel and left himself open to that second gank, and Impaler, he likes to get those early game leads for his team, and you know he's going to go after Niantanso because he's such a core part of Fusion.
And good job on Nintendude getting himself into that top lane in time for the repeat gank. Well played by everyone. And you're going to see, though, Nintendude did get spotted on his way up towards the mid lane. He's not going to find much, just the trinket ward or the regular ward, to maybe look for Rek'Sai's next jungle path.
You can see the Ignite went down there from Chunky Fresh onto Veritas. Looks like he got the heal in response to it in that bottom lane, so a couple trading there.
Yeah, interestingly, yeah, those were traded summoners here, but looks like everyone's going to be fine. Ninja Tabby rushed by Chunky Fresh. Of course, it is a pretty physical damage heavy lineup, and that'll allow him to get home guards before too long.
And this is something about Hecarim that people always see. You always see the boot rush, which gives him damage, but then you see the home guard. And people are like, oh, the home guard gets him back to lane faster. But the big important part of the home guard rush is not the fact that like you come out of the base, home guard TP. It's that you don't have to use your TP to get back to lane.
Yeah,
you get back to lane so quickly that you save that TP for those crucial moments.
Yeah, it takes you about, what, 15 seconds, I would say, total, instead of maybe the 25-ish it would take otherwise.
It's something that people don't put a lot of weight on, but it's very important because he needs that TP to be effective in the fights.
Yeah, that's true. It's going to be pretty nice then for Chunky Fresh there. He's up 8 CS right now over Rux, his opposite member on the other side of the map.
And I think a great example of how to use Hecarim with the home guard early on is if you look at Impact last week, he kept backing, and even when his bottom lane turret, he'd TP, he'd back home guard to where he was being pressured, and then you see him back over and over again to get to the lane that has the pressure and basically treat it almost like a mini TP.
Yeah, it's definitely really good. One of the unsung things that's hard to realize how strong it is just how much XP you actually need in League of Legends. Just if you're able to always be in lane, you just are stronger than other champions because you're higher level than them. Yeah. And the fewer minions you miss out on, the stronger you are as individual champion and as a team. Huhi right now still playing the farming game. He is basically trading equal with Gate, up slightly but not a ton. Chunky Fresh in a 1v2. This lane is actually frozen against him.
Yeah. He's going to have a little bit of a rough time here.
Rough time in this top lane.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, Niantanso, he got to back off a BF sword, whereas Veritas got a pickaxe, longsword. Chunky Fresh, though, getting picked on a little bit by Impaler.
It doesn't seem to matter for him. I think he's fine.
It's a lane that he has to extend for anyway, but look at this.
The thing is, they know Impaler's bottom. This is a 100% safe 3v1 dive. Rux has no flash. They know it's down. Okay, Trance pulls aggro, puts in the javelin. Yeah, easy. Easy, easy, easy. Well played by Fusion. Quick and safe top lane turret.
Trance was sitting up there for so long, too, in the brush, just soaking experience and waiting for this opportunity. And as soon as Impaler showed himself, it's immediately a turret for Fusion off the early game.
I want to know what more they can get here because you see we saw 3-on-1 against the Hecarim and it didn't do anything. 3-on-1 top lane gets the champion and the turret kill. And these guys can keep pushing top. In fact, I would want to see them a hard push for this and force a reaction from Impaler. Impaler on the wrong side of the map. He's nowhere close
He's
to
doing
level
his
6.
blue for himself. Yeah, like in Rek'Sai, you don't need your blue. It might give him level 6, but man.
I actually don't like Fusion going for the red buff there. I really think they could have gotten a lot of turret damage down. And if someone did show the defend, get the red buff afterwards.
Yeah, that's kind of a big mismatch there. Because
BF Sword Janna shield the Jinx like it's a free turret.
If you pressure top, you force possibly Rux's TP. He was just going to walk back to lane, but you get a lot of damage on that tower. Impaler, opposite side of the map. They didn't know that he was there, though. They didn't know that he was still doing his blue, but they knew that he wasn't in that bottom side jungle because Nintendo was there.
Right.
Or that top side jungle.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The one right below them, the jungle right below them. I know how that goes. I say push top all the time when I'm like,
when you're bottom?
At bot lane tier 2, right? Like almost at their base. Like it's the top of the map. Oh, right, wrong lane.
Yeah.
Either way, Fusion chooses to, after that turret, recall back, get Zertgreaves, still the BL sword.
Veritas Chunky's here.
All right, well, it's going to be level 6 on Sivir and level 6 on Chunky Fresh. He holds out and not back in. They are afraid of the re-engage, and for good reason. Down goes the Nintendo right off the bat. Nintendo was not around. They thought they could win that fight in the 3-on-3. They were wrong.
Both teams were planning the same thing, but Impaler's ultimate put him down near that bottom lane, and the binding from Sheep made it so that everybody had to ditch Nyantanso.
Well, if they don't one-shot the enemy AD carry, you know Rux is going to have his teleport up on Gnar. They force the TP, but that TP is still going to allow him to get Dragon as well as that first kill. Nintendo,
is he going to go for it?
He should. He over them smite it right now.
Oh, he doesn't. Okay. He had vision of it.
Yeah, but ult smite, homie.
Didn't go for it.
Just got to go hard. It's okay. Either way, Fusion chooses to not risk their own flash cooldown, and it will be the first Dragon of the game going over to Final 5, which will help equalize the gold lead somewhat here, as it is a 1,400 gold lead for Fusion. No surprise for these guys. They tend to be so darn good at playing lane swaps. They choose to lane swap almost every single game, and yet again, Fusion get the lead from it. Just that one misplay in the bot lane.
Here's the thing, though, is top lane's going to shove out really hard. It's going to be a lot of farm falling into Chunky Fresh's hands. And off the plays that were happening, Veritas caught up in CS. He was down 10-15 to Nyantanso. He gets back up there. Rux was behind as well. Now he's even Chunky Fresh, but Chunky's going to pick up this whole wave.
And, of course, Rux is also now stuck overextending. His flash is back up, to be fair, so he's not incredibly endangered, but you got to expect Rux anytime could just be beset by a jungle gank, maybe even an anti-roam as well. Not a lot of tank stats still on Gnar. Only a Giant's Belt makes him not all that durable.
But he still gets this matchup that we were talking about that's pretty much in his favor, harassing the heck of him down.
Let's see how much damage Chunky Fresh takes trying to kill
come
his wave. Look, down to half. Almost gets stunned there by Rux. That would have been another 300 damage down off of the...
It's a lot of damage he just took for free, and you can see he's already backing himself up. He's going to miss creeps off.
He doesn't know if there's a Rek'Sai around. There's no ward control at all for the top lane. Fusion choose to focus bot lane instead. They play safe with the enemy top lane, and now they realize Rek'Sai has gone to the bot lane. He could get XP again if he wanted to.
Oh, the knockup!
TP is up for Hecarim, keep in mind. So the second half of this fight could get crazy. Trance will stay alive, but Fusion are stuck on the wrong side of the turret, and Impaler goes in and realizes he's about to be outnumbered here. Onslaught of Shadows is up, used, gets the kill right there onto Jinx. These guys still on the wrong side, but a mini wave coming in to make that turret do nothing, and now Sheep is stuck on now the, again, wrong side of the map.
Yeah, all 5 members
Chunky
here.
Pulls aggro, in comes the anti-stun. Who he gets the kill, they could stay for the turret, and they will maybe do so, but they are respecting the Jinx Vlad, or Sivir Vlad.
All 5 members of Fusion are down here in this bottom lane. Who he still has his flash, so he could continue this. Trance off on the side, he has to back up. Meanwhile, Rux has gotten a lot of damage on this top lane turret. He's not going to get it this wave, though, but he gets a lot of free CS to himself to give himself an advantage over Chunky Fresh. But look at this!
Flash engage on the Veritas might be the spell shield he needs. Nope, still goes the kill of an Nintendo X, and now Gate maybe on the wrong side. Sanguine Pool going to be pretty important here. They go for the turret first. Right choice here.
He's going to be alone.
Nowhere for him to go. Pools the zap. Rocket comes in. Nice flash, and Ghost will get him away from this one. But Fusion picked up 3 kills in a basically turret trade.
Yeah, they put themselves at a 3k gold advantage at 13 minutes. And Rux, you know, he didn't have his TP to even the odds there at all and come in as the Mega Gnar. So instead, he has to just sit in the top lane, get what he can. There may have been, in retrospect, an opportunity for him to back, but getting that turret was the best thing for them at Final 5.
You can't expect it to go all that well. Nice knockback on a Veritas. The Black Shield, unfortunately, a little bit late.
Fusion just play this out of the turret range, and in the minions here, they try to clear them as fast as possible so they're not getting that consistent damage.
Wards right there. That was a crucial ward by Trance.
Really nice ward there, but then they eventually just blow them up. And then it just trails off for a bit. Nothing really happens, but then they wait for the mini wave, and they're like, oh wait, we can dive Sheep.
That's the really smart thing. Waiting for a wave on a turret dive like this. I've seen so many people walk in too soon and take damage they don't need to. Well played by Fusion.
Yeah, and it's off of the TP timer of Rux that they were able to make those types of plays.
Yeah, I mean, Rux's last teleport turned around a fight in the bottom lane that Fusion maybe overextended for, but teleport was back up for Chunky and not for Rux, and Chunky made the right choice. He was getting pushed off his turret, he recalled to get the home guard buff, and, you know, he had a good ward come down to make him make that play. So, smart things by Fusion. The first 15 minutes, unsurprisingly, very good for the blue team. But the question still stands, what else can these guys do with the lead? Huhi, by the way, rushes Luden's Echo on Annie, interestingly.
It's a little interesting. It's just going to give him that earlier burst, but it's a little more difficult to charge up a Luden's on Annie. She doesn't get that many spell rotations off. Her movement isn't that high. If he gets, like, even if he gets Moby Boots, you're not going to get multiple rotations inside of a fight off of Luden's because you lose the movement speed bonus. So it's just for that burst and trying to get an initial combo that one-shots people.
Yep.
It's for that mid-early spike.
I mean, that's what the team wants to do, right? It's a Trinity Force spiking hack room. It's a Luden's Echo spiked Annie. And in fact, Nian Tansu, who is ahead on gold right now, is going to be pretty darn strong. Jinx, for a late game carry, has actually a really good early game spike because of her powerful spells. He's in a bad spot. Yeah, he doesn't have flash. He's going to die.
He's going to have to just give it up.
Nice. Not quite dying to minions, but at least he let Team Up take him out.
It's very difficult, too, this matchup. Where they last picked the Vladimir, Annie doesn't have a lot of pressure on the Vladimir.
Nope.
Because of the fact that he just gets to sustain. It's not one of those matchups where Annie pokes you over and over again and then has the threat of one-shotting you because you're at 3/4 HP. Vladimir's almost always topped off, and he can outplay you by pooling the Tibbers.
It's true. It's hard, but yeah. So here we go. Gate is on split push duty here on Vlad. No summoners up, no ulti up, but he can just push waves in happily. They can use Sivir as their primary wave clear. Of course, Vlad's wave clear is pretty risky. It's pretty short range. Sivir, it's pretty much free. So attribution of resources there. They do still get Rux fighting up against Chunky Fresh, and so it looks like this is going to stall out for a short time.
And here's the thing, too, about the, I just want to think about the Vladimir a little more, is he gets magic resist items very easily, because it's part of his build. The Spectre's Cowl into the Spirit Visage gives him more lifesteal, gives him more cooldown reduction, right? He's in a very good spot with his build against Annie, and he's more durable. And it gives him AP, too, because of his passive.
Right, so yeah, lots of good
also, Abyssal's good for him, too. Like, there's a lot of reasons to pick Vladimir into an Annie.
I would not Abyssal here. He has no magic damage teammates or more than one magic damage enemy.
But he can still get it.
In a theoretical level, yeah. I mean, that item is not garbage on him. Here we go. Fusion, though, going to make the risk for the top lane play. Teleport is up for Rux, but it's been rushed down way too fast. I don't know if I saw this one coming.
Rux
Good black shield by Sheep. But I don't know why you TP in at this point. Looks like Rux
canceled it.
Yeah, well, he's going to get some turret damage here, but Fusion needs to recall Chunky Fresh and get him back to the top lane, like, right away.
See, now it's a 2K difference between them. It was 3K at one point, and here's the TP basically coming in for Chunky Fresh. Runs up, saves the turret.
Yep.
Home
16
guard.
seconds from hitting recall to being right there. Looks like all is well for Chunky Fresh.
That was 16?
It's 8-second home guard buff and 8-second recall, right?
That's yeah. I was like,
from
whoa.
hitting B.
Yeah, from hitting the B button.
Yes.
I was like, whoa.
Oh, hold up. Rux is in a bit of a 1v3 right now. He will become Mega Gnar, but can he get away with this? Impale's nearby. Two-man stun, going to lock them up around for a lot. Chunky Fresh very low on health. Janna forced ult to get them out, and now Sivir will not pop ulti on the chase. No, she did actually, but there's just no damage left to follow up here. Good dodge. Veritas left a flash to get away from this one. Let's think and base something out. Oh god, if that was a crit, he was dead right there. He comes in. Nice jump by Rux to save him. Nintendude maybe not done though. Rux is going to have to flash away from the barrel.
Wow, Rux played that really well.
Yeah.
He flashed through a boomerang backwards so he could disengage Chunky Fresh at the same time that he was not going to get hit by the barrel. But you can see Gate gets this turret mid lane though. They are going to lose their turret on Final 5 side because Fusion just group up after they route them top.
Yeah, when Vlad doesn't have any ways to get around the map and he stays in the bot lane,
they might get this one too.
This is really good. Fusion looking a lot better now in the early mid game, just going for the relentless turret pushing. Jinx, Janna, level 8 and 10, really good at knocking down structures here, and Fusion push their gold lead quite nicely back to 3K.
Yeah, and Veritas, he doesn't have that IE just yet. There's a lot of early mid-game spikes coming out here from the Luden's Echo and the IE on Fusion side for team fighting. But Final 5, they do have the Vladimir, they do have the Woda ready. So now they are going to try to group up and they're going to try to counter-push something here. It's hard to get in here, though, because the wave clear.
Yeah, it looks like there's nothing going to be happening right now. And now we got like 25 seconds to wait till the next wave shows up. So wasted resources there by Final 5. Good defense, of course, by Fusion. And looks like the blue team so far so good in the start of this best of 3. Once again, this is, of course, the third place match of the Challenger Series. Winner goes into the promotion tournament against Winter Fox or Dignitas in a couple of weeks. And Fusion holding an early game lead and not really allowing Final 5 to pressure much. Any turret that Final 5 has gotten has been bought with something else that Fusion's gotten at the same time. So far, I gotta say, with the exception of one probably bad kill given away, a lot of good choices by Fusion. Overall playing the map quite a bit better.
And the thing with the Gragas build here too, that he just hit the Righteous Glory, you're able to chase down the Sivir very easily. Righteous Glory is 80% movement speed.
Yeah.
Sivir ulti is 60%.
Yep. Life is pain. Righteous Glory is 60.
Is it 60? It's
the slow is 80. Yeah.
So it's the same amount, and then you get the slow. So it's 3 seconds too. It's pretty long.
Yeah. It's definitely enough to make good things happen. You can
better than Talisman of Ascension, I believe.
60 for 3, I think.
Yeah.
Is it? Talisman might be 40. I don't remember. We'll see if anyone buys it here in this game. I like it a lot on I actually think Talisman is the best tier 3 GP10 item personally. That the active is so darn strong. Even though Righteous Glory already exists in League, I think stacking those things is perfectly fine. It's a really happy place. Right now, Infinity Edge did get bought by Veritas, so he's going to have at least some damage output. But Niantanso, very unsurprisingly, is far ahead. He's already halfway to Phantom Dancer there.
Talisman is 40% for 3 seconds.
Okay, I was right. Yeah. Sweet. By the way, I was right about a cowl being a head covering.
Yeah. Oh no, I tweeted about it as soon as you said it. I'm like, a cowl is a hood.
Yep.
And I was like, it's kind of like, a cowl can have a cloak attached to it. It's kind of like the onesies for monks.
I mean, it's like a motorcycle can have a sidecar attached to it. Doesn't mean it's not,
yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
Like, but a sidecar is not a motorcycle.
No. Yes, a cowl.
By the way, onesies for monks, I just got that.
Because it's it's a whole thing. It's just one piece.
I mean, I get it. I just think it's a funny sort of idea. Does it have like footsies on it too?
No.
Like feety pajamas, you know? They have little like rubber soles, so you don't like slip on the linoleum floor, you know, in Monkville.
Monkville.
I don't know.
You could have just said the mission.
Like, that's true. In Urdistan.
Welcome to Monkville. Enjoy your stay.
Why not?
Oh man, 21 minutes into game 1, it's already happening.
Wouldn't be Challenger if it weren't for random talk.
That's true.
One of the 3 pillars of Challenger. Aiden Sired Moon, David Freak Turley, and bad jokes.
Oh man.
At least you got to be named first.
Hey.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very important in research papers too.
We were doing it in increasing order of importance though.
See, that's the thing is, you can always tell who fought for it when you read a research paper, because you're just like, is it alphabetical? Or is it by, nope, that guy fought for it. That guy put in more work right there. If his last name starts with a Z and he's first, you know he fought for that one.
Dr. Zimmerman's a jerk. All right, well, Team Fusion, though, have gotten some pretty damn good ward control. This top jungle littered with more blue than... I got nothing. I was hoping it would come to me. It didn't. But these guys...
Is that how you do it? You just start something and you're like, I hope this...
Oftentimes, yes.
I don't even know where this is going.
Much like freestyle rap. Which I'm also bad at.
That's not what I've been hearing on Reddit.
Either way, though, Rux in a really good spot against Chunky Fresh. He's going to get chunked down. Nice Q by Rux. Couldn't be dodged. That's the matchup Rux wanted all along, and finally gets to face him in a long lane.
Yep, that 1-for-1. One-on-one, mano-y-mano there. Takes him out.
Yep.
We were talking about that matchup and how it's very favorable for the Gnar. When you don't have an escape on the Hecarim and the Gnar can match you with Hyper, slows you, gives himself movement speed, it's really, really rough to deal with as a Hecarim.
Yeah, life is pain. Chunky Fresh does have his Triforce done. I don't know if he had it during the fight. I'm going to check. No, he didn't. No, he died with Fade Sheen, so didn't have the extra move speed he needed to survive. And now we can see Dragon going to Final 5, number 2 of the game for them. Off of that kill, nicely done.
Rux is really the big player right now for Final 5. He's been getting them turrets on the side. He also just got that solo kill on Chunky Fresh, which got them that second Dragon, which got them that extra pressure. So he's the one keeping them in this game right now. He's gotten their turrets for them in the top lane.
That's true, man. Right now, the split push power of Rux, and You know, it's interesting. When the Challenger Series started, and when we saw Final 5 lineup, I was like, wow, way back in expansion. It's like Final 5, a bunch of guys I haven't heard of, I guess Schroeder Race, and Rux. Like, man, how did they get Rux in this team? Like, Rux is amazing. Like, Challenger Series started, like, all right, dude, Rux, it's his time. He's going to be awesome. Like, I keep waiting for Rux to be awesome.
I feel like we say that every Challenger Series.
Yeah, and then within the last, like, week or two, I'm like, man, Rux is not having a good season. Like, you know, Rux is not, like, the big person on this team anymore. It's Veritas doing well, and Impaler's trying to make things happen. And then finally we get a good Rux game again.
Well, it's kind of the top lane meta, though, because he doesn't get a whole lot of opportunities to shine. He does well in his matchups, but in the late game, he is one of the better team-fighting top laners.
We've seen Seraph. Like, you can make a team all about your top lane if you really want it.
That is true. Seraph seems to be the exception, but not everybody builds Infinity Edge on
Nidalee. No, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. But either way, Rux right now doing his job very well. He's being consistent for the team, and he's certainly winning his matchups.
And I just saw that, too, with the Luden's Echo. I was thinking about it more and more, and I'm like, Fusion have actually a lot of wave clear that you wouldn't expect, because it's the Jinx, right? And you're like, oh, he clears from distance. But the Gragas barrel is what you max first on jungle Gragas. Yeah. Gives you a good amount of wave clear, and if you time it right, you can knock out a caster wave to like half HP if you let the barrel sit there.
Yeah.
And then Huhi, getting the Incinerate, Disintegrate, and the Luden's Echo, he also gets some extra wave clear on top of it. So Final 5 are going to have to deal with waves in a very creative way, because Fusion have kind of showed their cards in a very creative way themselves.
Well, the difficult thing, though, is the gnarly waves from Final 5 are getting pretty hard to deal with, but the top lane just got pushed down by NACS, who solo split pushed that, and right now the rotation game is actually going quite nicely for Fusion here. They're sitting now at, still at 3,000 gold, but they're knocking more and more structures down. It's 5 turrets to 2.
Here's the thing, is it's 3K gold. Are they going to be able to catch Gate?
Yeah, we're going to even go. I guess his team could show up soon. Exhaust on while the pro comes in. Rux flashes in for Nien. And Nien will stay alive thanks to Trance. Dodges the house. In comes Sheep. Going to pump the ulti and lands the bind. But Sheep's going to go down first. Nien Tanso is taking some damage. But Veritas gets feared. Chunky Fresh saves the day. And this is going to be a cleanup crew now for Fusion. Gate's not going to get anything done here. 4 for 1 in this team fight.
This is a typical example of when somebody says, don't focus the tanks. You got to kill the tanks first. You can't just run at the Jinx over and over and over again, especially when he has this amount of peel going for him. Tanso was kiting backwards the entire fight. He's just trying to get away from these guys and doing a very successful job of it. He's one of the best team-fighting AD carries in Challenger. And with a team like this that can peel for him, it's no problem. They're going to get the Baron off of this.
Nicely done, Fusion. Good job, Chunky Fresh, getting in the team fight, cleaning up and making sure Sivir went down. And good job, Fusion, for getting the Baron right afterwards. Here we go. Nice big lead. This is interesting. So both TPs are coming in. Actually, it's Nars and then Hekrams comes afterwards.
Rux Flash only ultis Nien Tanso and gets the stun off afterwards in an attempt to just lock him up. Sheep flashes for this, and now nobody's dealing with the fact that Annie's flanking, that Chunky Fresh is flanking. Veritas tries to run in just to get to Nien Tanso and doesn't even deal with Chunky Fresh, who's going to take him out from behind. That was just really, really sloppy from Final 5. It looks like the call was get Nien Tanso, but they didn't evaluate the amount of power and support he was going to get from the team.
Yeah, I mean, just think about how the fight goes in general. Like, you can, like, some champions can dive AD carries. Vlad's a good one at it. If you Sivir ult the team, you're good at it. Hecarim can do it. Like, that can exist. Like, you can go for the back line, but Gnar ulted with no one else around. And just, there was no follow-up, and the peel, of course, was very good. Yeah, I mean, it comes down to that. You're absolutely right. It's no one else was there to go hit Nien Tanso, and
like, if you layered everything at the same time onto Nien Tanso, then you're gonna
get popped. He'll get popped.
Guy will drop, but if you're just kind of staggering in like that, it was a very desperate attempt to save Gate. They ended up giving 3 kills over to Nien Tanso because of that.
Well, Nien Tanso's plenty big, and they're up 6,000 gold now, Fusion. You know, Dragon's in a minute 15. They don't need that one really badly, though. It's only Dragon number 2. You got to figure the Siege game should be fine. Sivir's not great at knocking down these melee minions.
The wave clear from Final 5 is pretty abysmal. They're going to have to use the close range of the Vladimir.
Fusion aren't trying. Like, Fusion aren't even trying. They're letting it go. I'm a little bit surprised by the hesitation of these guys. I realize the ultis are back up, but Gnar's not anywhere close to being big. There's no risk of Fusion getting hard engaged on right here.
Yeah, you just walk up, you knock the turret down, you
all right, here you go, hit it.
Impose your will onto this turret, and you just go.
Like, you could even minigun form this if you save.
Oh, yeah.
But Gate getting poked out, turret's 3 hits from dead. And looks like Fusion going to continue to play it safe, but they do pop Rux's Mega Gnar. That'll time out by the time the next wave comes in, and Final 5 realizes this. No Gnar threat, nothing to be done here, and Fusion will get turret number 6 in this game, and they still got a minute left on Baron.
Yeah, Niantanso's up an entire item right now. He's got his completed Phantom Dancer, IE, and Bloodthirster to Veritas's IE Static Shift.
Let's go one more time. There we go, minigun form. They know he's safe. Good dodge in the binding here, and the turret's going to be going down. Final 5 cannot find a way to defend their own base. 29 minutes in, and Fusion going to take down an inhibitor already off the back of Jinx doing all their damage. Well done, Fusion.
It's going to be very hard for Final 5 to put up a good fight for the remainder of this game because they're going to have to flank with Rux. Rux, you know, we saw him get that good ulti onto Niantanso, but the fact is it was only one person, right? That's the reality of that situation. He got that guy with a good TP flank. It wasn't enough for the team, though. Big problem here, lack of wave clear on Final 5, and they can't start the fights in the first place. Fights are disengaged by Fusion, and they have superior wave clear.
Yeah, absolutely great. Fusion just able to play the map so much better. They're going to try for the engage there. Slow on the gate. Counter engage comes in from Hemoplague, but gate going to be a bit locked up for this one. Exhaust comes in. A nice knockup, but maybe there's the damage output. Janna comes down, and intended very low as well. Rux goes in, but down goes the backline as Chunky Fresh engages for 2 more. It's a double kill for both Huhi and Niantanso. Only Gates left alive.
That layering of CC and ultimates into that just cluster of people. Everybody's trying to save Gate. That guy's got Flash and Ghost. He's going to be fine.
He's still got Flash.
Yeah, he's going to be fine. You don't have to help him, but he turns the fight around and he tries to make something happen, and they go 4 for 1, and they're going to lose an inhibitor off of this.
The thing is, there's a wave bot lane right now. The respawn timers are really short, to be fair.
They're going to go for 3. They're going to go for the safety here, because Fusion have a history of overextending for things, like Baron, like ending the game.
They're backdooring an entire inhibitor turret right now. Thankfully, Tibbers was tanking it, and they won't get more than that turret itself. Out they go. Baron's not up for a while, neither is Dragon. Fusion can grab his red buff. Looks like there's no risk for this, and they can safely recall.
Yeah, the game was 3K apart for so long, and it was just that play up top where Final 5 got a little too antsy. They saw Niantanso in a bad spot, and they all just trickled in. So this is really just aftermath of that, and the pushing of the turrets, and the fact that these team comps operate in a very certain way.
You know, both these team fights got one off the fact that Fusion has engage tools, and they chased down a Vladimir. Both fights went 4 for 1, I think exactly, off of, hey, we can engage because we actually have engage tools. And lo and behold, things went well for Team Fusion here. Righteous Glory helping, of course, quite a bit as well. They don't have to use all their ultimates to start fights. And Fusion now, what do they want to do? 2 minutes on Baron, probably too long for them to wait. You could go for top inhibitor, or you could just go for the Nexus right away and ride a super minion wave in. I think both would be fine.
Final 5 all had pink wards in their inventory. They're trying to get control over their jungle back, but Fusion just have so many ways into the base. They have pressure in 2 lanes constantly. They can group 5 as top and get this last inhib, which is going to be what they're going to do. They're going to try to go for this because they want those double super minion waves, because they still have Nexus turrets up.
Indeed they do. They don't want to risk dying under Nexus turrets, so they're going to play the push game for that one last inhibitor. Final 5. I don't see how they could defend this one properly. They're down 11,000 gold practically. But Fusion's still giving respect. Nintendo clears away a ward. Minions go down. And slow and steady right now, the race for Fusion. They say, look, mids and bot are both going to be pushing in. They will have to be reacted to it at a certain point, so don't rush this here.
Niantanso's big right now.
And when will Final 5 switch over? There goes Rux to stop down of the turrets, and right away, there's the move for the inhibitor. Has to be given up. All 3 inhibs are down.
Niantanso's up basically 2 items at this point. He has 100% kill participation for himself. And this doing work this game.
Oh man, he's been absolutely crushing it. The turrets as well. That's going to go down without much of an effort there. And only one structure is staying alive now inside this Final 5 base. Yeah, who can even start the fight? There's the backline dive. Rux goes down first. The tank gets exploded. And there's only a few things left to do for Fusion to close this game out. 33 minutes in. Nicely done. Snowball in the early game lead and having a great mid-game. Game 1 of the best of 3 goes to Fusion.
33 minutes in. Pretty clean after they got that capitalization off a misplay, and I was talking about how it's all about the punish game. You punish the composition, you punish the overextensions, and that's going to be the winner of this series, because both teams have a history of making late game mistakes. And they showed it right there that Fusion, they're able to capitalize off of the mistakes and the draft when it gets to a certain point.
Yeah, really well done. They got Nia and Tonso rolling. Jinx got ahead in items, and she got to take down turrets. Jinx, Janna, great turret sieging team, and they managed to pressure that a fair bit this game. There was, in my mind, one missed opportunity, but they still kind of found the rest of them, knocked these buildings down, got a gold lead for themselves to pick fights better. Right, Rasha Righteous Glory on Gragas, start your fights all the time. Annie's follow-up engage, the first mid Annie I think we've seen all season to my recollection, at least in North America at the very least. And all these things worked out. I mean, he didn't have to do much. He was 3-1-5. He had the lowest kill participation on the team. But look, just land a flash stun. That's all we care about. It's going to start the fights out.
And survive that mid lane. Don't let Gate get ahead of you. He didn't have like the greatest matchup with kill pressure on Annie. But the fact that Nia and Tonso had 100% kill participation, had the most gold in the game by 4,000.
4,000, yeah.
Like, they funnel a lot of resources into this guy, and he always carries them if they just allow themselves to be carried and they protect Nia and Tonso. So that there was a great kind of formula of Fusion right there. That's the typical strategy win for them. How are they going to react on Final 5 side? Because you can't really ban an AD carry out. Like, it's not very effective.
You can remove certain elements, right? Here's what I know about Fusion. They're good at playing for late game AD carries, right? Like, their insurance policy is Nia and Tonso. Jinx is right now, in my mind, the best late game AD carry, and that she's consistent.
Like, the thing is even if you ban out things like that, he's still shown that he can perform when he's playing Graves, when he's playing Corki, right?
Yeah.
Like, Jinx does give you more snowball-y potential.
And that's what I'm talking about, is the fact that, like, Fusion win the lane swap game. She's the best turret killing AD carry aside from maybe Tristana, but she's the best hybridization of turret killing and late game carry threat. Like, that is the epitome of Fusion right there. This is the AD carry that embodies how Fusion plays. This would be the one team I'd actually ban Jinx away from.
Yeah, I don't know if it'd be completely worth it, though.
Maybe not. There's a lot of other good things, of course, on the table.
You really want to just kind of ban out things that would protect her and make her effective and allow you to not reach her. But I do think that they need to think about their draft here on Final 5 side, because they didn't draft anything that was going to help them wave clear or help them get onto the Jinx or get onto Nia and Tonso in that late game, especially since they took the Janna and the Gragas on the side of Fusion.
That's true.
So they have to think about their late game win conditions, right? Like, what were you going to do with that comp if you were behind at all in any respect? Because you can't start the fight. You don't have really good split push either. Like, Rux can kind of deal with Hecarim.
No.
But, like,
that's it.
It's really, like, I don't know how they were planning to win that game.
I don't know. Seems like a bit of a misstep there for Final 5, unfortunately for them. They couldn't claw back from the 2,000 gold deficit. They picked a whole lot of bad fights because only one team gets to pick their fights. Unsurprisingly, Fusion picked some fights.
Like,
and
you can win the fight with, like, Vladimir and Rux and all these things.
If you're in a world where, like, the teams have to go, like, battle 5v5, you're okay. But guess what? Fusion gets the drop on you every single time.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Hecarim goes and kills Sivir every single time. That doesn't really exist here for Final 5. Like, Nar Vlad try really hard to reach Jinx and then probably still don't even kill her. And we saw that in these fights. That was kind of the unfortunate thing. Either pick real divers, and to be fair, we did, for example, see first pick Hecarim, right? That got removed right away. Fusion didn't allow that to get played whatsoever. They grabbed an early Janna. They grabbed an early Gragas. They got rid of, I mean, I guess Nautilus has at least some backline stun, right? They didn't let Sheep play a support that could reach the backline. Maybe she should play Leona. I don't know.
Click on Nia and Tonso has pretty much been his downfall. We saw Lissandra lock him up and just crush him.
And heck, that champion is still available, right? Like, Annie could have been picked at a certain point. Leona was still on the table at the very end of that game. Lissandra could have been an option. Absolutely, I agree with you. Some point and click stuns could have probably helped Final 5 a whole lot. Gate's really got a twisted fate, right? If Fusion are trying to play this big rotational game where they split up, they often make mistakes. You know they make mistakes in the mid to late game. Why not pick a global revealing teleport to go pick people off? Like, that's also, I think, an option, and things that I would want to see Final 5 play overall on their Game 2 here.
There's a lot of thinking here for Final 5 to do. They have to come in with a clear game plan of what they have to do to win, because that last game, Vladimir, Rek'Sai, Gnar, Sivir, Morgana, it's like Sivir, Morgana, good lane, right? You can win that lane.
Fighting.
Yeah, good team fighting. But the way you start the team fight is you pick somebody, you hope they mess up so you can start it, or you just ulti and all get in there. But the disengage, the two forms of disengage, it's not just a Janna, it's a Gragas as well. So there's a lot of ways for Fusion to deal with what Final 5 had drafted. So I think it was kind of sloppy by Final 5 with their champions coming in there.
All right, well, we'll see if Final 5 can fix these issues or if Fusion can make it a 2-0. But as the players ready up for Game 2, we're going to take a short break. But when we come back, it's Team Fusion attempting to reach the Summer Promotion Tournament with one more victory against Final 5. Don't go anywhere. Level 6 on Chunky Fresh. He holds out and not back in. They are afraid of the re-engage, and for good reason. Down goes the Atanso right off the bat. Is taking some damage, but Veritas gets feared. Chunky Fresh saves the day, and this is going to be a cleanup crew now for Fusion. Gate's not going to get anything done here. Janna comes down, and Nintendo very low as well. Rux goes in, but down goes the backline as Chunky Fresh engages for 2 more. Who can even start the fight? There's the backline dive. Rux goes down first. The tank gets exploded.
Give me a fat beat!
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Spring Challenger Series playoffs. Fusion and Final 5 are looking to claim the 3rd place finish in the Challenger Series and the final spot in the Summer Promotion Tournament to join the LCS. It's a best of 3. Fusion leads 1-0 right now. It was about a 33-minute win. They got ahead from the lane swap. They managed to dodge a bad top lane matchup, and then they just snowballed in mid-game with a couple of good team fights and then crushing every single turret.
Yeah, and these guys need to fight really hard because this is what the Challenger Series is all about, is getting those promotion spots to get in to the LCS. So these guys need to show their last 3 months of work come to fruition because Final 5 struggled like they did in picks and bans and in the execution of what they had drafted, which didn't have a lot of execution factored to it.
Yeah, and this is going to be really interesting because there's so many storylines, not even just about how the game was played, but what's happened to the team so far. Yeah. Fusion was 1 game away. They were 2-0 in a best of 5 against Coast to join the LCS, and they essentially choked, lost 3 in a row, lost the spot. Team Fusion in the semifinals crushed TDK in game 1 and then lost the next 2, dropped down to here.
They were winning game 2.
They were even winning game 2.
And then Seraph wins the game by himself.
And then choked and then lost the series. Here they are going into game 2 themselves, and it's like, well, game 1 was pretty good. You were in control the whole time. Are you going to finish the job this time and make the promo tournament? Now, on the other side, though, is Final 5, who have still yet to win a game with this lineup.
Yep.
They switched players around. Conquan swapped places with Sheep in the support role with Team Coast in the North American LCS. They grabbed Impaler as well, hoping to bolster this lineup up and said, okay, well, Coast is in 10th place. Let's put some players up in here. Let's make Final 5 the team that makes it in the LCS. And they've yet to win a game with this lineup they put together here for themselves. Here is their last chance to fight for this promotion tournament spot. Here's their last chance to prove this lineup's any good. And here we are in Champ Select.
I really want to pay attention to what Final 5 are going to draft for themselves, because last time it was pretty sloppy. It was pretty much banking on Sheep to get a binding.
Yeah.
And Veritas to run people down, but they never even got to a point where that was a viable option.
That's true.
They also played the team fights really sloppy when they got to them.
They did. They were too eager to limp into fights that they were not going to win. They got flanked by a Hecarim or just blown up by Annie-stuns and Jinx kiting. So questions are here. Fusion's still going to ban the Urgot away. Blue side or not, Urgot not something they want Gate to play. LeBlanc away from Huhi. No surprise. I think that's, I would say, his best champion. Even in loss, he looks good. So Huhi not going to get the individual playmakers there. There we go. Chunky Fresh does not get Hecarim. Veritas seems to be the team fight sort of glue for Final 5. Get one of the divers off the field. Don't let Chunky Fresh play that. Give a slightly higher chance for Veritas to do his job.
Thinking more and more about this, because right now they're not going to first pick the Hecarim for themselves. They're not going to give Rux that split pusher. I think they're going to go with something a little more Veritas-centric right now, just off the bat, because of the fact that their blue side, they get to pick whatever they want first. They can be like, all right, let's pick a Disengager. They could go Juggermaw. Like, if Lulu's not banned out, they could pick up a Lulu for themselves. Like, there's a lot of things here they could pick up.
Now, Fusion respecting first pick Sejuani. It was Final 5 who banned it last time, and Impaler has not played it himself, although there have been 3 Sejuani bans in the last 4 games against Final 5. And it looks like Fusion will add 1 more to that statistic, making it 4 of the last 6, I believe. And here we go. Gragas still removed away. Interesting. One team bans Sedge, the other team bans Gragas.
Yeah, and it just doesn't look like Impaler wants to play that champion. I don't think he has played that champion.
No. Yet. I mean, Nintendo played it himself, and no, Impaler has still only played fighters so far. Last game he played Rek'Sai again. Yeah. Still has not shown him on any tanks yet.
He played a Lee Sin game last week.
Yep. Nautilus again. Sheep not getting these backline reaching supports. Of course, again, as we talked about, Annie was picked away, to be fair, but Leona also on the table. Lulu, there you go. You called it. Lulu up here. So, top midder support or jungle, Kikis, and
shorter ace.
True. All the above. Whatever. Freak champion spotlight.
He was on that team too, so.
That's true. Well, maybe it's a bit of a call-up, but either way, Final 5 gonna get a support somewhere. It is a flex pick after all. Team Fusion had to make their choices. Interestingly, the Nidalee that was left on the table all through the last pick and ban phase is something that Fusion hovering for themselves. The Morgana takeaway, though, not a big surprise. That was first round drafted by Fusion, sorry, by Final 5 last time around, so Morgana, a high price on her. And one of the better defensive supports in the game might just be snatched up here.
Yeah, it means they won't get a Janna, though, so they won't disengage anything. But when you see a Lulu on the enemy team, you know they're not hard engaging you. So you see a Lulu, you're like, okay, they're not going to draft something that just crushes us with like 5-man run at us engage, so we don't need a Janna.
That's true. Well, not going to do that one after all, and the Morgana does let herself get locked in. Fusion in poor champ select form, hover the champions, and then wait 45 seconds saying, guys, here's our picks. Strategize against them.
But yeah, those are really good combo picks, though, because if you land the binding, you're going to land the javelin.
True.
If you're just aiming at the same spot.
Yeah, I mean, if you get into a siege situation, Fusion can just chuck bindings out, and then when one lands, someone's gonna die.
But we haven't been seeing a lot of Nidalee in the jungle recently since the tank meta emerged. I do think that she's still very strong. The only problem is you have to leverage her very, very early in the game. Levels 1 through 6 are important for her because as soon as a tank hits 6, he's a little more powerful in skirmishes than she is.
Start pushing her around.
Exactly. They start pushing her around. And the problem here is once tanks get up to late game status, they just soak the spears and they just tickle them now.
That's true. Well, look at this. A tank to soak Spears. Impaler's going to get Nunu for himself and Final 5 steal away the Jinx. It won't be Juggernaut, but it might be Jugger Jinx here.
Yeah.
2 supports with a very scary AD carry for Veritas.
We haven't seen a Nunu from Impaler just yet, so I want to see how he plays this. And if he can actually bully the Nidalee around in her jungle and take some of her camps, it's going to be very good at keeping her down.
Nidalee is a champion who needs farm above all else as a champion, and if you can deny some of that, maybe life is a bit better for the Final 5 lineup. Now Team Fusion to make their choices here. They've got a very pokey sort of pick-oriented team right now. No idea what the rest of the comp is going to be, but now that you realize that there's a Jinx in the back line, how much engage are you really looking at here? Hecarim's off the table, maybe another unstoppable charge. The hover on Scion for Chunky Fresh might be just what they wanted.
Yeah, but Nunu will just soak that for you late game. He'll walk up and he'll just, there you go. So if you get something that's going to shred the percent HP of the Nunu, you can get through that wall very quickly, arguably faster than a Jinx is going to get through your Scion.
Scion? Yeah.
Yes.
Top lane Scion a bit tankier than jungle Nunu here, especially when you consider what you're fighting up against. So Team Fusion, they do have a tank and 2 pseudo supports, I suppose, for Niantanso, a heal and an attack speed buff for Nintendo's Nidalee, and you got a black shield all the same.
This is really actually quite clever by Fusion, because when you draft a comp like this that is going to run around and try to get to, and like kind of kite backwards on Final 5, pick a Kog'Maw. You're not going to get hard engaged on.
Yeah, true.
Because like Nunu will
you need to hit people.
Exactly. Nunu will have to run up and snowball you, but if you have something like a black shield that's going to stop that, if you have a Scion that's going to soak that, like this is really good from Team Fusion so far. And Final 5, they're going to have to react with these last 2 picks into that. They can still like swap the Lulu to bottom lane and draft an engage for themselves.
They can play a hyper aggro top and mid. Yep. Well, maybe an aggro support here. Looks like it's going to be Ahri and Leona picked up. So a mix of styles here. 2 supports. Not in support lanes. A hard engage support and an assassin here. So Gate can pick on Niantanso, but only if he's alone. Also, by the way, it could be AP Cog in the mid, by the way. Who could be playing that one? We can have a different AD carry come in. Could be mid more. We can see what support it actually is. Fusion still do have the ability to flex their champions around. I'm thinking about Final 5 though, and I'm not sure what it's supposed to do though. Like, what's the follow-up on your engage? Like, Leona lands a stun, and Ahri does some, and Jinx does some damage.
Can Charm, Rux. I mean, the thing with Lulu though is I like watching Lulu builds, because if Rux goes for cooldown reduction boots, you know, he's got some
he's more supportive.
Utility,
yeah,
right? But if he gets Luden's Echo, it means he's looking to be a damage source as well. That's a huge boost of damage for a Lulu. It chunks people really hard when you first get that item on her. So I'm going to be watching out for that on this Lulu top, and what Veritas gets to do in the lane. Because this is a lane that could kill a Kog'Maw very early. You get in there and Trance is caught off guard. Sheep, if he can lock down Kog'Maw, or they've even switched targets to Morgana, there's a lot of things they can do here, because you can combo that with your Chompers and just make them mobile.
That's true. There's a lot of lockdown potential here. Just you got to question who's actually going to die with a Black Shield and a Scion up in the front lines. Fusion, by the way, Scion, Annie, and Morgana could still switch at any time. Like, these guys play in so many different lanes. But I think this is the lineup. Top lane Scion, mid Annie again for who? He looks like this is his new big champion to play in the 3rd place match.
This is rough right here, because this is a ton of threats across the board. Like, Scion does really well in lane. Kog'Maw is a huge threat later. He's going to have the peel from Black Shield. Annie, if he gets ahead, or even like against an Ahri, that point-and-click lockdown is devastating, and you can snowball a game solo. And then the Nidalee, you don't have anything to catch that Nidalee. Leona,
yeah, good luck.
Like, her range is
Ice Blast.
Got
Baby,
him.
got him.
Got him.
Just chomp his monsters away. No farm left for Nidalee. Easy win, easy win.
That's what you'd have to do, is get her early.
Yeah, we'll see if they can do that now as we wait for the game to start. Just kidding. We're going to talk about it later. The prompter moved on me. I was going to read, and then I was told not to read it anymore. I got juked by our producers. You guys are... Can I read it now? Are we good? Okay, yeah. As we wait for the game to start, we wanted to quickly show off this tweet from Europe. @HandyGamer tweeted, "This is how we NACS over here in Germany. Hashtag 3 a.m. Pudding and Challenger Series in the middle of the night. That's a great way to spend your day, man. I am glad you guys are watching here.
It's only 3 a.m. and they're already having the best day possible.
That's true. It's already started. So, I mean, what else could happen? A lot of amazing things, of course. It's already Wednesday. They can stay up and then watch the European Challenger Finals. Great.
Blowing my mind.
Awesome.
Man.
What a great day heading up here, guys. It's going to be wonderful. Stick with us. We got game 2 coming up in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I timed it right. I was so hoping the producer wouldn't troll me there. I just like pause.
Right into Nunu Bot's laugh. Ooh.
Quick, Impaler, I want you to say the thing where he says my name.
About your,
Have you learned his moves from me?
oh yeah.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
It's weird. There's so many free references in LoL. I don't know how to think about it.
What are the other ones?
Well, Earth mode, death recap, everything's tons of damage. You search for Trinity Force, tons of damage. It's not all about me, but it's cool that my favorite game has references to me in it. It's very flattering.
It's like you're a part of this game or something.
Which makes me very happy, because I love this game.
Oh.
Oh, he missed! Gate! Psh, lame.
Nope. Well, I don't know. Nintendo missed Gate. And Gate missed
He
Hoopy.
got him!
Oh, see, that's it right there.
He didn't do the reset, though. He just switched and pressed Q.
Doesn't matter.
Just saying.
He still did it.
I mean, Q's an auto reset.
Yeah.
He didn't do the 3-hit thing, though, that you're
Both
talking
Q
about.
and R.
Yeah, but he didn't do it.
Doesn't matter. He still swapped and he got an auto reset. It's niddly mechanics.
Okay, sure.
It's not all about throwing the spears.
Javelins.
Yeah, that's true. Javelins. See,
They are technically spears
Once
still.
again,
Minions have
nobody's
spawned.
getting those deep wards to see the lane swap coming. So Final Five are doing this blind, hoping that it is the lane swap.
Well, Final Five are going to run into an enemy lane. Now, Jinx Leona has a lot of kill pressure, and if you ever outplay the Black Shield, Fusion's lives are going to be miserable here.
So I'm going to say this and see if it happens, because I think Fusion are going to try to shove this out as fast as possible, and then back when they find out that it is the 2-on-2.
Well, right now they're going to get some free gold on hitting Sheep. Grant's actually missed one possible auto. He could have hit an extra 5 gold, but it's okay. We'll see if there is a push coming in after all. Of course, it'll be hard to push against Leona. She can, of course, just trigger Argon stacks twice, and then life is easy.
Yeah, they're going to try to shove as hard as possible to the Jinx. And look at that immediate aggression.
And the binding gets a minion, so nothing much being done here. Final Five, a hardcore push, 5 CS there. Chunky Fresh, all right. The Wolves go down.
It's all about getting those early advantages here, shoving the lane in as fast as possible. Ooh, still got him.
You know, Chunky Fresh did the best H2K impression there and took down the Wolves 3 in a row.
Damn. that one was pretty good.
Although, unlike H2K, Chunky Fresh also died. I killed it. It was so good until then.
It was so good. It was so good.
I can't not ruin jokes. It's just how it works. All right, Gate though about to be beset by a Nidalee.
He lands his, the
Blast off,
stun.
the javelin hits. Goodbye, Gate. Goodbye. That was sick though. Good job, Fusion.
The flash stun from Huhi. Like I was talking, this last pick, Annie, into the Ahri is a terrible matchup for Ahri. Like, even when she has her ultimate, you just point and click stun her, and it is a nightmare. He is already starting that snowball.
Man, this is going to be pretty rough. We'll see if Impaler can snowball this lane back, but it looks like that answer is no. He's stuck on 1v2.
That vote actually should have been reversed, because Fusion are red now.
Oh, snap. I didn't even see it.
Yeah, it was saying Fusion like 64% blue.
Oh, okay.
So people are voting for Fusion. Fusion just swapped sides.
Ouch. Rush just lost a whole bunch of health right there, though. Looks like this
Silence
Chunky
if you
Fresh
pull.
lane is, looking pretty happy. Then dude finally gets his own blue buff. Of course, he cleared all 3 camps top jungle, then ganked, and then took bottom jungle. So far, a lot of farm coming in Nintendo's way. He's even got first blood money, so that's plenty convenient.
It's going to be so hard to keep this Nidalee down. Impaler has his work cut out for him, and he's not going to get a lot of...
Well, Veritas,
It'll see people coming out of the bush.
you won't need it anyway. Nidalee's not ganking this lane.
Yeah. The Nunu ganks are pretty bad as well, so like him getting into these lanes to actually affect them is going to be rough. Like, that's the thing, is Impaler's not going to be able to get up to these lanes and snowball them at all.
That's true. Looks like there's no real gank pressure coming in. Of course, you can't Ice Blast to Morgana lane, and good luck knocking down Sign with Lulu in the team. I think there's a chance you can get rid of Huhi. Of course, it is a flashless Annie, and in fact, he takes Scuttler and is on this side of the map.
You can. He's just going to go after camps, though. He's going to try to tax Nintendo as much as possible.
Oh, I like that.
Here he comes.
Then dude just wants
He
to
shows himself.
He just wants to get Impaler out of the jungle. He wants to get the kill. Can't quite get it. Nice try, though. Spice it. Gets it. Now, interestingly, the Fusion duo lane themselves are also taking camps. They actually took the Krugs themselves. They're walking back into the lane, getting more farm and walking back in. So Fusion, happy to play under their own turret. They're just trying to get as much money as possible. Fusion.
Blind Spear?
Nope. That Trinket Ward's going to mean almost nothing, though. He knows Impaler already had his blue, and he knows he had Gromp buff, too. That ward's not going to see anything.
He's trying to walk around it.
Did he dodge it?
Yeah, I don't think he was seen, because it doesn't see into the pit anymore.
Oh.
But he's going to get seen as soon as he pops out on the other side.
I don't know if they saw him. That ward's going to see him.
Yeah, that ward is going to see him.
All right, they see him. He's like, oh, I tried so hard. I got so far. And now Final 5 in the end, trying to run away from this one. Javelin lands on a Veritas, and it doesn't even matter. Summoner heal, flash used. One more auto attack. The Javelin from long range. Nintendo X starts the game 2-0.
Nintendo on this Nidalee. Nice secret operation there to just go through the Baron pit. That was cool.
Secret agent Nintendudes, Josh Atkins, doing his best James Bosch impression.
James Bosch.
Delicious.
Great. My references are spot on today. At least did the Lincoln Park one properly. James Bosch. Nintendo again? What's up with these guys fighting each other for jungle camps?
It's Nintendo's jungle, but who he?
That's a flash. He's not going to reach the hunt in time, though.
Who's got his stun on? Chunky Fresh.
Q. Oh, he flashes and point blank ults. The Q's going in as well. No flash for Nunu means a kill. Nicely played by Fusion. 3-0.
Man, just the early game here is not working out for Final 5 at all. The Nunu jungle is getting caught out and getting punished for it too. The collapses are really good, but it's all this pressure from Nintendo onto the map as a whole. I like I just can't get over
the first 5 levels. How about the first 4? Nintendo just did everything possible in this game. Every single lane has a killer and assist on it now. From Team Fusion. Life is good if you're a Fusion fan right now. They're looking really strong in game 2.
And I can't get over the fact that Nintendo was able to go all the way around the Scuttle Crab as Nidalee.
That's so cool.
No problem. That was beautiful to watch because its range, its vision range was reduced in 5.6. And that was actually one of my favorite changes in that patch, was that Scuttler now no longer sees into the pit or sees people coming from the ramp. But the fact that you can do that with it is just beautiful to see, and I absolutely love that. And that might make Nidalee see even more play, because she doesn't just take the Scuttlers really easily. She can now avoid them if somebody else takes them.
It'll be interesting to see, of course, the rest of the Challenger Series as well as LCS playoffs will be played in 5.6. Usually we don't change once a playoff starts, so we'll see in the next couple of weeks if we see any more of that. Semifinals coming up this weekend, the finals coming up tomorrow. Third place match still in front of us here. Fusion sitting on an early lead with a Cogmon, no less, which makes life easy, and Veritas a bit behind on Jinx. Up CS, but down the assist is pretty meaningful.
But the big thing is Nidalee is really big right now.
Yeah, she's huge.
2-0-1 early game, more CS than the Nunu. And Nidalee is the champion that nobody on Final 5 can reach. You'll have to solar flare her, and that's only going to land if Nintendo isn't fast enough with his flash or his RW get away. Right? That's a really tall order. You'll have to get in with Ahri as well and try to land a charm on her. Like, there's no point in clicks to lock her up. It's going to be very rough.
Well, we said Final 5 might want some point and clicks for Nia and Tons, but how about some point and clicks for Nintendo's 2-0-1 Megas Enchant completed Nidalee. She's a higher level than the solo lanes, by the way. She's tied with Chunky Fresh and Huhi here.
Yeah, he's currently undefeated on that Nidalee too. Nintendo went 0-0-9. He also went 3-1-13 on that champion. So his combined Nidalee score is 3-1 and 22.
Pretty good KDA.
Yes. 25.
Yep.
It's even more now.
I was about to say 24 because I couldn't do math in my head.
We heard you earlier too with Secret Agent Bosch. James Bosch. English and math are pretty hard right now.
My SATs were horrible.
Are those the only 2 parts now?
There's writing
there's
too.
3 parts, yeah.
But I took them before writing became a thing. Thank God.
Oh.
I was bad at that. I like missed it by a year. It was really thankful.
Oh yeah, where it was like 1600 then became 2400.
Yep. So now I'm like, oh, I got like a 1470. It like sounds bad, but it was okay in my day.
Back in my day.
Back in my day.
I had 1,000 less score SAT than you. And it was a good score.
I got a 780 on math. including the math, like the hard math SAT too. So deal with it, homies. Oh yeah! Chunky Fresh the squirrel. Squirrels can't throw axes, homie. Check yourself.
I really like Nintendo just showing up to lanes and pushing them, because if a Nunu shows up, he doesn't offer wave clear, he doesn't offer poke, he doesn't offer hard engage. He offers attack speed. Like,
Great.
He doesn't do a whole lot. He just kind of soaks spears and eats minions afterwards, but he's not going to be doing more than Nidalee. Nidalee's going to also offer attack. It hit!
You got stunned, but he's going to get his way out. Black Shield is still on Neonton, so Trance takes a stun, but doesn't even care about this one. No damage dealt on the backside. We do get Nintendo's flash for that, but that's it.
That devastating Nunu game with the snowball. Oh no.
Oh, man.
Like, that's the problem with the Nunu right now, is up against something like a Nidalee, if the Nidalee even gets a kill and affects a lane, it's so hard for Nunu to get back into it because he has to pick on the camps. But if she's strong enough to just push him out of the jungle and the team's going to collapse, then it's really hard for him to be effective.
Absolutely. And right now, Impaler has not been effective. He's there as a vision control champion and as a support, but right now, no sight stone, just the double green wards in the inventory.
He's still just sitting in that lane. Nintendo is basically a laner at this point, but he's going to finally walk away and kind of add back to the effect of there's this fed Nidalee somewhere on the map. He's going to pop out in the lane and basically be bonus gold and bonus sieging power to them. Where's he going to go next?
Well, right now, going through his jungle, he's got plenty of camps still to clear. Nidalee, of course, has pretty fast clear speed. Gage, despite being first-blooded, and Huhi, despite having a kill and assist to his name, is still having a hard time against Gate here. Yeah, you see the Ahri matchup in the lane is going just fine.
Yeah, he went for the Negatron cloak immediately after.
Yeah. He's facing a lot of magic damage this time around, and he's got some magic damage follow-up, so lo and behold, Abyssal becomes a great buy. Huhi is still going the double Doran's Ring into Luden's Echo build. Neontonso playing a bit aggressively. Black Shield comes in. Yep, nothing to be done at all. And I like, by the way, how far back Trance is playing. Trance cannot be hit with a Leona Q. So as soon as Leona goes in, he's like, okay, I'll Black Shield in the end. No big deal. And there's no threat of target switching, which is very, very smart by Trance. Because oftentimes when you play Leona in a Morg, you force Black Shield, then you target switch like this, and you can't get caught. Look, exactly what you try to do, and you can't do it. Neontonso, damage on a sheep, can't do much more. But it's still a trade won by Fusion.
Yep, Trance has his ultimate too. So they're ready to go. They're ready to turn this around. And
they actually could have all-in Sheep there,
yeah,
I think.
Yeah, he could have flashed in. Sheep had no flash. Could have ultied, exhausted Veritas, and then it would have been a pickup kill there.
Yeah. Oh, well. Missed kill, but still a lane going well. 1,500 gold lead right now for Fusion. And after those first 3 kills, the game has slowed down a bit. Dragon was taken. That was nice. But the kills haven't turned into too much more. These lanes are still going equal, 107 to 111. Mid lane 100 each, 80 carries 100 each. It is slightly going Neontonso's way now.
Paler. Oh.
Nintendo.
Hello.
Now, Ice Blast misses the jump. Actually, bad news Bears, who does not have flash, and in comes Gate. Wow. Over-aggression by Nintendo. Gets himself caught out by Impaler, who just happens to be there.
Impaler's just sitting there like, come to me. Come, man. There's something in this brush, and he just checks it. I think he's just trying to set up ward vision behind the pin so that he can take the dragon without the threat of it being stolen.
Well, guess what? Here's the dragon without threat. Forcing the flash. All right, the roam starting to work. Final 5. Not, you know, backs against the wall. They lost game 1 pretty hard. Game 2 started out 3-0. These guys do not say die. This should be a clean dragon. There you go. Good job, Impaler. And looks like life is good again for Final 5 here. They got a pick. They forced a flash in the mid lane. They got themselves a dragon. And again, the lane's going just fine here, so these guys are going to hold up for now. Veritas even knocks down the top turret. The perennial push in the top lane works out. Chunky Fresh is out of mana. He can't really knock down Rux anymore. And here comes Nunu. Chunky Fresh out of mana. He does have flash. Yeah, he's getting some back here, but nice bind on a sheep. This is a very out of position Leona. Kill goes to Neontonso very intelligently.
All right, so you just get caught warding out there. Pretty even in gold though, because the turret take from Final 5 in the top lane allowed them to kind of close that gap a little bit. It's 1,000 gold difference here between them.
It's definitely closing. In Final 5 though, I feel like they're going for... I think they're trying really hard for a mid-game spike. Look at what Veritas bought here. He's banking on Avarice Blade, which by the way cannot build into Phantom Dancer, which is to be the best DPS item for an AD carry after Infinity Edge. So the fact that he's going Shiv, or maybe even Youmu's weirdly, is, look, let's get this item spike sooner. Let's push in really hard, 5 minutes sooner or 2 minutes sooner than you might expect. But it's a gamble that I don't know if it's going to pay off for Final 5 or not, but they're going to try.
He also went Static Shiv on Sivir as well.
I guess he just prefers that item then, but again, I guess it's just, it's an earlier spike, but it's a DPS loss compared to Fan Advancing.
They're going to get this bottom turret in exchange for the top turret, though, from Final 5. So, once again, just trading objectives across the map.
This is good. I mean, but Final 5's doing it first, though. Like, they knocked down top lane outer without anyone answering, and then they basically traded bot for top. Yeah, and they get a blue buff steal. They get hold Annie down.
Well,
Huhi, who's not
I don't know if
bot
it's 100% just yet, though.
well, duo lane just recalled now. Rux does not have teleport. If they went fast, they'd be able to, but looks like this is not a risk Final 5 wants to take. They had a few seconds there without the enemy duo lane.
They warded up the blue buff, but they didn't get anything for it. Gate has to back. He did have enough gold for needlessly large rods here. Okay. Very important that he got back.
Yep. All right, so item spikes coming in. Luden's Echo not quite done, but soon for Huhi. I assume maybe a similar item for Gate. I might expect that coming second for him. Niantanso has Triforce, that's a big deal, and Veritas has Infinity Edge. The first big items done or about to be done for all the major players in this game.
Yep.
Similarly, Fusion, Chunky Fresh has Spirit Visage, and Rux has Merlinomicon, so...
He has full CDR right now. 37.5% for him. He's not going to get anything more than that.
All right.
Looking for that last turret, immediately rotating their Jinx to the mid lane. They're looking for turret demolition right here on Final 5 side.
Well, as long as these AD carries feel safe, they're going to put some damage down. You have to respect Javelins, and Veritas does. That turret's on a half health, though, and Final 5 definitely playing the push lead. Now, there's a gigantic wave top lane building up, pushing towards Fusion right now. Chunky Fresh is being sent to deal with that, and he's got every cooldown available at his disposal, so that should be a safe wave clear.
If Final 5 can end up getting this turret for themselves, they actually get themselves in a position that's good for their team composition. Because if you group up as 5, they have double sight stones to just the Nidalee and the sight stone. They'll be able to control the jungle and get picks with the Leona and the Ahri. So this composition for Final 5 wants to start fights by picking and having vision dominance, and then following up afterwards and keeping the Jinx in the backline. That's how they'll end up kind of snowballing if they do get this last turret and get those areas of the jungle in their control. So Final 5 do have a way to close this game out and actually get a foothold in it. If they get this turret, they'll be even in gold as well.
That's going to be a big deal for them because they're down 3 kills, but finding a way to equalize the gold would be nice for these guys. They've just recalled Nunu, who's got Merc Treads, a Sight Stone, and now a new Ruby Crystal. So vision control, of course, available for these guys if they can wrest control of the map. They can keep the rotational advantage. Baron would go down fast for either team, interestingly. So that's actually something I want to have everyone think about a little bit in this game, is that Baron is easier than normal. And it will be an important objective at some point, I imagine. He's still roaming around, but getting spotted by wards, pinged out.
They're waiting to see where the Annie is, because that's... You don't know where the Annie is. The Jinx is not 100% safe. You can see Veritas is a little hesitant. He's checking the brush, making sure that the minion wave is in his favor, and he does see him now, so they're actually he's in a good spot to walk up. Just wants some extra coverage. They're going to give up mid for this.
Oh yeah, no one's
a lot of pressure
defend
here.
It could only be 2 defending. Jinx and Nunu far away, Lulu as well, and you're right, just in goes Fusion. Final 5 up, clearing a bot lane wave and sending Lulu top. Giveaway control over mid-outer. No one was there to clear the wave away. Nice job by Fusion. 2 turrets to 2, all said and done. And Fusion hold the 1,600 gold lead here, and they're getting rid of wards in the enemy jungle. They're more than a minute early for Dragon, and already sweeping vision away. Trance feels safe to clear this.
That's how you do it, though. You got to get there a minute early. Assert control, get the wards down, sweep their wards.
Man, think about it. How scared is Final 5? Now, they can go for a cross-map objective. Dragon's in 35 seconds. You could send people top and really threaten top tier 2. You could also send 5 mid right on the Dragon spawn and threaten mid-outer. And I want to see if Fusion will get their wave control under control in time for that. Looks like right now both teams have recalled a second time to prep all their items. Distortion boots Annie and Luden's Echo. Almost Static Shiv is here for Jinx. He's got the Zeal and the...
double pink, or sorry, pink and a ward in this bush.
Charm on a trans, though. Really good early damage. In comes Annie, two-man stun. Veritas has to get away with the flash, but Saya knocks him down. That is 2 kills for Fusion. Rux gets slowed. What a great initiation. Once again, Fusion able to find the fight they want.
Man, Fusion just immediately with the go switch there, flash forward. They might be able to get another turret here. They're going to take it with Tibbers and then wait for the minion wave, but it is going to go down fairly quickly.
Yeah, the outlook is pretty good right now. Smite it away. Chunky Fresh takes aggro, but here is the minion wave, and they will, in fact, get mid lane tier 2 off the great set of picks. And Dragon on the way out. Why not? Clear some waves as you walk. Clear some minions as you walk. Kill a pink ward as you walk. Why not? But Fusion still no chance to stop this Dragon.
And you can see all the pink wards they'd set up for themselves on Fusion's side. 2 on the right side of the map, 2 on the top left side.
Who's he going to try?
Taylor, nope. They just send the rocket from Veritas for the attempt. You can see right there, 2 pink wards, make sure they can get picks. 2 pink wards on the other side of the map near Baron to make sure that they could also pick there if they wanted to. So Fusion actually set themselves up to do what Final 5 wanted to do, but it prevents Final 5 from executing on that game plan. Beautiful 2-man stun. Good disengage by Rux, but the fact that they both get knocked up by Chunky Fresh just ends up getting 2 people killed. The clump up there, they didn't actually have everybody as well, so the pick, the Dark Binding from Trance, set them up beautifully for that.
Yeah, it did. So look at this Fusion, though, had to send someone top lane to hold a wave that was getting pushed in, and it gives Final 5 a bit of time to take control back over the jungle, not saying die. Final 5 down 3k gold, but they want to get something back into this one. Big wave bot lane, blue buff steal, deep wards back into Fusion territory, and maybe bot lane tier 2 can be pressured in the near future. Niantonso still has not backed, it seems, since that last fight. He's got very little mana. But the rest of the team not going to stay down there.
Oh, Sheep caught.
Goodbye. Niantonso gets with the E.
Out of position, trying to ward. They've just had pink ward control of both sides of the map here for Fusion for so long.
That was a mistake by Sheep, though. They had just warded the eastern jungle. They know Fusion isn't on that side of the map. They must be on the other side. Nice smite by Impaler. Okay, so both blue buffs have gone to Final 5, but that misstep by Sheep is going to give some map control back. Chunky Fresh gets to clear the entire giant, like, triple wave in the bot lane. Even push it into the turret himself, and Final 5 can't say anything about this.
Veritas has to back. He has to purchase for himself, get the static shiv, get on that power curve, and they have to send a Rux down bottom. He's not going to use his TP to do so, so that's actually the good point here for Final 5. But man, Rux, he can't have a big effect on this Lulu aside from buffing up Veritas. And we already saw the amount of damage that can come out from the multiple threat members of Fusion. And they don't have a way to catch the Nidalee or the Kog'Maw. Like, Niantonso has not been threatened this game.
He hasn't at all, because there's just not really good backline dive. Ari can try to 1v1 him, and that's basically it.
And here's the thing, too, is you have a Leona, you have an Ari, but you'd have to split them, and they both have to be able to deal with killing a Nidalee, killing a Kog'Maw. Like,
I mean, you have a Morgana and an Exhaust. Like, you're not, that's not going to happen.
It's basically impossible. Like, I would say it's feasible if they both had to dive just a Kog'Maw, but a Kog'Maw and a Nidalee both. It's too many things to try and deal with at the same time that you need the same amount of tools for. It's like you have one screw and you're trying to just get 2 paintings on the wall.
You put the paintings on top of each other.
Yeah, and have both.
No, you have a reversible painting.
Great.
All right. You tape the paintings together, like back to back.
Great.
You tie some string up.
Great.
And you hold it. You hang it by the string, and you can just twist it over, and then you can show either painting. Analogy conquered. In comes Chunky Fresh. Whee! Slams those trees.
Lumberjack Scion, please.
Well, only the slow comes in, and there's no engagement to be found. He gets charmed. Black Shield is almost nothing. True damage comes through anyway.
Hui has his flash available, and now they just get to bait stuff out. Clear the pink wards, clear the area. Try to bait. Ooh.
I want to point something out real quick. Hold on.
That's
going hard. Charm, but he stuns them back. Gate has to get away. Nice rocket comes in, but Trance going to tank that one. Flashes in for the ulti onto Rux, and Rux has to flash the wall. Re-engaged Intenu does get caught out, though. The Ignite is on him. Looks like the man's going to live. And now in comes the push on the Veritas. Kill comes through. Impaler now locked up inside the enemy team. And down goes Nunu. Double kill for Niantonso.
It is so hard to deal with this Fusion lineup from Final 5. Fusion, now they can turn their sights on the Baron because nobody died and they have a tank wall. They have the percent HP damage from Kog'Maw. It's going to be a 25-minute Baron free.
Pretty quick, clean kill on this one. Rux and Sheep, 2 supports left alive. They can't stop anything here. It's going to be about a 15-second long drag. Well, Neonton's not even helping. He's like walking back to go do something else. He knows the team has this. And Fusion able to use the Huhi re-engages very well. These anti-stunts have been great.
That chunked out on Veritas.
Oh, man.
It was a big part of this, too, because he can't threaten that backline, and Gate went really hard. He landed everything he needed to, but the fact that they had so much damage ready for him and the burst, Fusion are playing like they want to be that 3rd spot in the promotion tournament. Yep. To play against Dignitas or Winter Fox. 7K gold up after this team fight. Just having great pick bans for themselves so far. And great execution as well. They are not falling into those late game traps because right now they've been having such great early games.
They have been. It's been really good seeing Fusion so far in this series. It's kind of the best they've looked all series long. Or all kind of challenger split long, to be honest. And
well, they suffered from splitting games with teams 1-1 over and over again.
They had only ever 2-0'd CLG Black, which is the last place team in Challenger Series this split. Every other team, even TSM Darkness, who was sitting at the bottom of the standings for almost ever, they went 1-1 against them.
And they're the only team to 1-1 against enemy.
Yeah, so their ceiling was high, their floor was really low.
A lot of variance in this team.
Yeah, and finally they're looking at a very strong game. Now, to be fair though, this is about the lead they had against TDK in Game 2.
Yep.
And they lost that game. So I think this is still a game that Final 5 could absolutely win if they can get themselves that right team, but if they can find those picks, if they can get those plays done. Now, interestingly, I do want to point out something about Trance's build. He's actually maxing Black Shield first. We normally see Dark Binding from Morgana, but he is so set on keeping Neon Tonso alive, which is very typical Fusion, of course. He's already got max Black Shield by level 9, actually, he had it.
It's true. And you talked about how getting the stun off on Neon Tonso is pretty much impossible off of just a Leona.
Yeah.
Now, there's even more. But look
Can't
at
even break the Black Shield by himself.
Yeah, exactly. You can't break the Black Shield. Now Gate and Impaler. Impaler Snowball isn't even going to break it.
No. Baron buffed up. Team Fusion on 3. Dragons with the second buff, of course. They knock down turrets faster than normal. And here we go. Turret number 5 goes down. Yeah, a bit of a base race. Final 5, though, are a turret slow, but it is a Blood Boil Jinx after all. There comes the turret. Now, how's the 5-man push on the other side going to go? Because Fusion are already going to take it down, and they realize that Chunky Fresh is sent to defend, though. It's going to be him 1v2ing this. Inhibitor goes down. Fusion not really being the turret at all. And Chunky Fresh makes this a much better trade for Fusion overall. Impaler, though, on the backside, maybe a bit of a risk. Sion's going to live and clear a wave.
Oh, boy. Not worth it.
They could collapse. If they wanted to, they could play the long game and collapse and kill the NE carry, or they could just push back down mid.
Oh, the Krugs, stop it. They're just going to push down mid right now. They know that they're not here just yet. So Nintendo helps them push down this mid wave. They lost the Baron. The Baron's gone, but they got an inhibitor for it, which is more than you could hope for at a 28-minute mark. Like, this is really good for Fusion so far.
Yeah.
Now they're just shoving waves out. They're getting control of this map. They're going to try to cash in on the turrets that they pushed, and then they're going to get to the point where they're able to get back to these lanes and start getting those that last tier 2 down, and then the rest of the inhibs off the pressure of the bottom. Very weird trade there for Final 5.
Yeah.
That wasn't a trade. That was, I like you enough that here's my entire card collection.
Oh, man. I mean, they did get 2 turrets back. It's like, here, have some forests. Give me your Mox Ruby.
Yeah. I'll trade you a Black Lotus for an island.
Actually, to be fair, yeah, it actually should be Mox Ruby and an island. It's because, you know, blue and red.
Yeah.
But, you know, we got there. All right, well, Final 5 definitely on the back foot here. Veritas needs to do his best Seraph impression. They're both Korean, so maybe.
I just thought about that too, because people who don't know the reference would be like, man, that guy's trading him a flower, a Black Lotus, for an entire island. I was like, oh.
Aiden, we've already discussed that if you explain the reference, it gets worse.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you didn't understand the reference, and you just heard the words as they are in normal, non-nerdy, everyday context.
As you're watching the Challenger Series playoffs, are you worried about the non-nerdy context in this one?
Yes, I am. Very much so.
You're crazy.
You saw those guys in Germany? They look like badasses.
Fusion gonna go ahead and start pushing the waves out. Nintendo takes away a Grump. And the rest of the team looking like they want top lane for breakfast. War Control dancing back and forth, but Final 5 getting pushed out of their own jungle, really. Impaler doing an admirable job of trying to keep wards up, but I think it's maybe a futile effort. Bottom lane inhibitor is dead.
QSS on Niantanso already. He has so many ways to keep himself safe. Level 15.
Yeah, that guy's not going to die anytime soon. And here we go, Fusion looking. Going to knock down turret number 7 this game.
Sheep. He's just throwing it out to try and hit the Kog'Maw. He gets the black shield.
But Final 5, just back out. You're not going to win this fight anymore. I guess they clear one more wave. Luden's Echo Ahri, a great wave clear champion, so they will have another 20 seconds respite. But now just like send Jinx bottom and clear the wave. It's a double super minion wave coming in right now, about to crash in towards your Nexus. You're already going to lose this turret. Go clear the wave.
And it's precious seconds that they're losing at this point, because now it's going to come and it's going to hit that bottom turret.
All right, Gate, clear this wave, or you're going to lose the turret right now. Q gets rid of it. Okay, and now Jinx has to go bot lane. A few more seconds gained. 15 until the next wave comes in. Fusion will have to wait for this one. Mid lane is pushing down. It's not a very beefy wave. It's just regular minions, but still some progress done on top inhibitor. Jinx finally clears the bot lane wave, but another one's coming in soon. It's going to crash right in front of the turret. And here's attempt number 9 for Fusion. Baron up in 45 seconds. In goes Chunky Fresh. Not really deterred by any of this damage coming out from Ahri. Niantanso with the W on. Still has to respect the fact that Sheep has ulti back already. And now that's Black Shield down, so once again, Fusion having to play defensively. And again, right now, Jinx could clear the bot lane wave. There's no minion wave here. They try to catch DN. Cleanse used, and now the engage comes across. What's the damage from Gate? Pops the exhaust out of him, and a lot of zoning done by Impaler. Buys a lot of time for Jinx. Rux has slain Hui. It's a 1-for-0. Veritas goes for number 2. Doesn't land the crit. Goes for Nien. Gets one there. The zap hits him. But there's no more follow-up damage.
Oh, can Sheep continue this?
No. And they got to get back to bot lane now.
Oh, that looked like it was going to be really good for Final 5 with Veritas cleaning up. Not enough.
If you had a Phantom Dancer, you might have landed that one extra crit and gotten the resets you needed. Sometimes the DPS build matters there. I can't say that was for sure what happened, but sometimes it'll make a difference there. And as the game goes on later, Jinx with a Bloodthirster, still no Zerker Greaves and no Last Whisper. I'm actually surprised he goes, by the way, for BT, because Whisper would be more damage per second. Considering he has to hit this Scion in the front line, who's got a lot of armor. Zonya's Annie with Molten Shield.
He has to hit the Zonya's Annie. Looks like it's going to be Baron again. Almost 10k down. 8k right now. Veritas is pretty much the sole hope of this team. And cleaning up with that range advantage. Dragon's live too. Fusion could go for the 4th dragon.
Well, let's see what they want to choose here. 9,000 gold lead for Fusion. The push was stopped, and Final 5 got a couple kills off of it, so we can see that the chance to fight back does exist, and there's a ward on Dragon as well. Nintendude.
They know that Nintendude's doing this stuff.
Yeah, he could be assaulted.
So they can cut it off, or they can make it a 4-on-5 on the left side.
Leonold spam to the left-hand side.
This is going to be really rough, though, if this lands.
Scion's going to hit. No, he's going to hit the Dragon and slow down Gate. Here's the engage. Impaler slows the team down, but he's getting assaulted by Kog'Maw. 1-for-0. Sheep blocked up, looks for Hui, but no, the rocket misses on everybody. A double kill for Kog'Maw now, and it's getting bad for Final 5. Veritas goes down. It's a 3-for-0. Rux one hit away. There's a triple kill for Niantanso. Only Gate's left alive, and how much base do you really have left? Fusion going to take Dragon down first. The question is, will you push or will you Baron?
I think they're going to Baron off of this. Because the Baron will help them get those inhibitors right afterwards. So right now, the Baron seems like the best idea because there's going to be a lot of gold into your pockets. It's worth about 5 kills, 1,500 gold. So that's what they go for here because it'll knock down the turrets for them later.
All right, quick Baron picked up. Niantanso picks that easily.
I also like the idea of going for these objectives and fighting over them instead of risking the new steal.
Yeah.
This fight just, you can see the gold difference manifesting itself. Veritas is struggling to even get damage off onto these people in the backline, onto the carries, onto Niantanso.
Well, he's trying to ignore Chunky Fresh.
And Nintendo was throwing spears from the backside and pretty much just doing what he wanted to do, the Nidalee doesn't even have to be a part of the main unit. In fact, it might even be better to be throwing them from the backside because you're throwing them past tanks already. You don't have to deal with a frontliner jumping in front of your spears.
Yeah, life was pretty good there. Good 4-for-0 teamfight for Fusion, who he popped a good Zonias, and he landed some good stuns. And right now, a lot of ability power on Annie. All three needlessly large rod items. So if you want to play mid lane Annie, just buy needlessly large rod and buy everything that comes out of it.
Everybody from Final 5 is waiting in this top brush for somebody to just walk by.
There's no reason to push top. Fusion have Baron. They don't need to take all this time to clean everything else out. They should push while they still have Baron. There's 2 minutes left. And they go for the mid because they got the wave. Bot lane is open, of course, afterwards. This will easily be the first turret. Question is, will they fight for the inhibitor? I think the answer is no. There's nothing much you can get here.
You're going to lose bottom inhib too. You're going to lose 2 inhibs for this.
You've got to. You could only have fought for the inhib turret, and the inhib turret was not where Fusion met Final 5. So
big experience disadvantage, big gold disadvantage here. 13,000, 14,000 in favor of Fusion. Fusion are looking to close this game off and claim that last spot.
Well, we would finally get a 2-0. That wasn't against CLG Black, and looks like Fusion now have one last thing to clean up. Bot and mid inhib are gone. Top lane wave is slowly building up. They can cut this next one and rejoin it soon. They're gonna have Baron buff for that push. Clearing the jungle first. Someone should have already went top lane and pushed the wave in. I think Fusion are wasting a little bit too much time.
Now they're gonna wait in a push.
There's no reason to death brush this. They can see that all of Final 5 are right there.
Get in the bush. Just go ahead and
Tanso's gonna be bait him. All right. I mean, I guess. I think it's a waste of time though. They got like the game's not really in any big risk, but like just clear the wave and get it pushed in. But they're waiting for Huhi. Huhi backed. He didn't buy anything though.
They're both waiting for the other team to move first.
There's no Rek'Sai. Moving doesn't matter here.
This is trench warfare. Who's
Blue
oh,
trinket.
Found him.
And you wouldn't leave your base anyway. There'd be no reason to.
Yeah.
It's actually a waste of trinket in my opinion. But here we go. Fusion looking for the last push they will need in Challenger Series Spring.
That blue trinket actually helped them out because it made them leave that bush.
Veritas putting
Big wave, 3 cannon
barely
minions.
getting any damage dealt. Yeah, the cannons becoming great artillery. The smite gets rid of all of them though. They engage on a Chunky Fresh, but he is too tanky. Stun's gonna land on a Huhi. But Sheep very low on health, has to shield himself, and nothing gained for Final 5. One more time, clear the wave, minion waves up in 10 seconds.
Super minions in the mid lane, coming down from the bottom lane too, and they're just gonna muscle this turret down. That's the last outer turret available before the Nexus turrets. That's a third inhib.
There's all 3 inhibs right in time for the next minion wave to spawn inside of Fusion's base. The next couple waves trickling down are gonna have 6 super minions inside them. And that's going to be almost impossible to defend against. Baron buff is gone, but super minions are plenty strong in their own right. And Fusion look to group with the bot lane wave to go for this turret right in their eyes.
Double super minions.
Final 5's tournament live on the line right here. They must defend.
They're just going to go for it. It's a lot of damage.
Down to half health. Tanks in the front line. A couple more hits to go. Chunky Fresh flashes out, and here's the zoning ulti from Impaler. They push back on a trance, but Nunu's already gone down. 1-for-0. Gate in the back line. Sheep low as well. The rocket misses once again, and Theratos has no damage output. Gate's going to go down. Huhi stays alive. Stun's not going to land on much either. And pushing the team out to 1-for-0. No, a 2-for-0, and the turret's starting to fall. There's number 1. Number 2 is going to go down. Intended will stay alive, and Veritas going to get chunked out by Tanso. That's going to be rocks down as well, and the 2-0 comes through. Fusion wins 3rd place. Fusion are in the promotion tournament.
And they get to play against either Dignitas or Winter Fox to possibly get into the LCS.
Yep.
Fusion have been waiting for this for a very long time, considering they were 1 game away from being in that last split of the LCS.
Well, it's time for best of 5 once again. The last BO5 that we saw Fusion in, it was that grueling battle against Team Coast for the first spot in the LCS. They didn't win that one. Now they got to face a team who was only slightly above them in the standings this time around.
They got their revenge too on Sheep and Impaler.
And they did get some revenge here on Impaler and Sheep, so good job by these players. And it was a pretty remarkably clean win. I mean, 18 kills, very few deaths, 3, I guess, total, if you count the suicide from Sign at the very start of the game. They were very much in control.
Nintendo did a really good job of taking over that game early and then snowballing it for his team. And I really liked the way that they drafted. They saw the Lulu first pick come out, and they were like, we gotcha. you're going to go ahead and protect somebody. So they're like, all right, let's grab all these things for ourselves. If you guys want to run a backline AD carry, we'll run a backline AD carry.
Right.
That you can't engage on.
Right. They took away, in my mind, the better defensive support in in Morgana. I think she's actually a bit better overall as a champion.
Leona?
Well, I mean, if Janna were on the table, but in terms of like protecting an AD carry, I like more because you can block stuns. And to me, like when in the age of Sejuani and Gragas and Nautilus, that to me is more important. And they grabbed Nidalee saying, we know you're going to play a backline team. Let's play a poking AD carry. You guys aren't going to engage. I dare you.
Yeah.
And sure enough, Final 5, 4 picks later goes, oh my God, they have Kog'Maw, they have Nidalee. Oh God. Let's just pick Leona. Our team has no engaged at all. Let's just pick Leona, and there's no follow-up. And unsurprisingly, 2 kills total for Final 5.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's one of those situations where maybe you would want the Annie support for an engage, right? Mm-hmm. Annie taken away to the mid lane.
Yeah.
So a lot. That was actually last pick too, though. So like they didn't pick it up for themselves when it was available. They went for the Leona. They went for these things that I don't 100% agree with. But I feel like the way that Final 5 didn't pivot in Champion Select was a big red flag. But the way that Fusion did,
Well, I think they did pivot, and it was a bad pivot.
That's
my thrust.
They pivoted, but they didn't really like do a good job of it.
That's my thrust.
It looked like more panic than pivot, right? Like it didn't seem like a really well thought out strategy.
Yeah. So what this means now for both teams, Final 5, they are the 4th place Challenger team. They will be back in Challenger next split. To kind of recap where everyone else is, TSM Darkness and CLG Black as the 5th and 6th place teams respectively will be joining the Summer Split qualifiers. They might be back this split in the Challenger Series. We, of course, know that Team Fusion are the 3rd place team. They will be in the promo tournament. And that means that I guess they could be chosen by Winter Fox or Dignitas. We'll see who they want to do. Of course, the Challenger Finals tomorrow with Enemy Esports against TDK. Winner of that just straight joins the LCS. The other one is going to join Fusion as a promo tournament team. Yeah. We'll see who ends up being the scarier team between the two. You got to figure that match is going to be a fun one to watch overall on tomorrow night at 6 p.m. But yeah, as far as Fusion are concerned, they finally get to end the season on a high note. They had lost pretty much every best of. They had a really hard time opening up series typically. They lost almost every Tuesday game they played in the regular season. Finally, they get a 2-0. It was a good-looking 2-0, under 40-minute games. I would say, by and large, pretty darn good engages by them, pretty good team fight choices by them. And they kept the pressure on. I didn't seem like, finally it looked like a game where Fusion didn't flounder around and not know what to do.
Yeah, and I really like that this was a set that made it look like Fusion had as many analysts and coaches as they have in the house.
Right.
Because they have so many people on that support staff helping them. And it really showed here how they were able to come with these good drafts in a series and a best of and really just show off how their team works around Nian.
Yeah, well, speaking of playing around Nian, we actually have him on the broadcast for us. So joining us to talk about the victory, the AD carry of Team Fusion, Nian Tanso. Nian, congrats on the win, man. It seems like you put on your carry pants this game.
Yeah, thanks, man. It wasn't only me. I think everyone on the team played really, really well. So I'm really happy about the series.
I was glad to hear, of course, that was a 2-0 for you guys. First of all, is that a result you guys were expecting? You went 1-1 against them, of course, back in week 1. These guys seem to be pretty good competitors. Up to your expectations?
I think it was a lot easier than expected. I expected maybe 2-0 or 2-1. 2-1 was more likely in our favor. I knew that we were going to win, but I wasn't really expecting the games to be that easy, I guess. It was way better than expectations.
Why'd they go so well for you guys then?
I think we just played a really smart, controlled game, didn't make over-aggressive plays, just played to our win conditions, farmed up, and just outplayed them throughout the game, and it just worked out really, really, really well.
And I want to do a little bit of a retro with you right now because you were in the expansion tournament where you guys were one game away from being the LCS. What's that journey been like since that loss and coming all the way here? What have you learned?
It's been a fun journey just playing with the team. We've gotten a lot better since then. Of course, the lineup has changed, and I think this lineup is a lot stronger than our old lineup. So I'm really, really confident going into this, and this will be my fourth time attempting to make it in the LCS, so hopefully I can make it in this time because the last 3 times didn't really work out too well. So, yeah, I hope it works out this time.
So what are you looking at now in the summer promotion tournament then? Of course, you're facing Winter Fox or Dignitas. Do you have a preference?
Not too big of a preference. Maybe Dignitas. It'd be fun beating Shifter for Nintendo because they had like kind of a bad relationship or something. That could be fun. And it'd also be fun to beat Huhi's old teammate, Core JJ. That could be a really fun matchup. So maybe them. Either team is completely fine by me, though. I just want to make it in. So someone has to lose, someone has to win. That's just life.
And you said that you've tried 4 times getting the LCS, and you just said right there that you want to be in. Why do you want to be in the LCS so badly, Nian?
I just want to be in the LCS so I can go to Worlds. I really like going to the Season 2, Season 3 World Finals. Like, I had the whole time there, like, didn't even want to watch the games. I just wanted to play. Like, I just had goosebumps, like, the whole time. I got really, really jealous of all the players on the main stage. So that's my main goal. I just want to go to Worlds and show everyone what I can do compared to the rest of the world, because I think I'm not like that great right now, but I'll be insanely good by then. Probably like top 380 carries in the world or something. Like, I'm going to be really, really good by then. So I'm looking forward to showing what I can do and what we can do as a team.
Wow, that is a very bold prediction, sir. Best of luck to you in your improvement as a player. Best of luck to your team in the promo tournament. Nian, thank you very much for joining us. Good luck in the promo tournament later this month, man.
Thank you very much. I'll see you guys there.
Yeah, see, it's going to be a whole bunch of fun casting your games. Now, guys, after tonight's match is done, here's the bracket currently stands. Now, of course, with that victory, Team Fusion will be taking place. And what else? The Summer Promotion Tournament, and they're going to play either Team Dignitas or Winter Fox for a chance to win a spot into the North American LCS.
And tomorrow night, we'll find out who will definitely join the LCS this summer as Enemy Esports and TDK battle in a best-of-5 series. That match takes place live on the NALCS stage in Los Angeles, and whoever wins is in. Whoever loses will grab the last spot in the Summer Promotion Tournament on April 25th and 26th. That's actually 2 different days. One's EU, one's NA.
Yeah, so we'll figure out which those days are for you guys in the future. But tomorrow, the European Challenger Series will have its finals on the LCS stage in Berlin. Origin will take on the Copenhagen Wolves, formerly known as Lowland Lions. Copenhagen Wolves Academy, formerly Lowland Lions, as Xpeke makes his bid to return to the LCS. That is a best-of-5 matchup. It starts at 9 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time, 6 p.m. Central European Summer Time, and the North American Finals begin at 6 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Now, with that, we've reached the end of our time together tonight. So now for myself, Zyrene, and the entire Challenger Series broadcast crew, thanks for watching. Good night. GG.
Au revoir.
À demain.
Au revoir.
That's not how you do ours in French. No.
Au revoir.
Nope.
Oliver?
It's back of your That's a really good early damage. In comes Annie, 2-man stun. Veritas has to get away with the flash, but Saya knocks him down. Rux has slain Hui. It's a 1-for-0. Veritas goes for number 2. Doesn't land the crit. Goes for Nian. Gets one there. The zap hits him. She blocked up, looks for Hui, but no, the rocket misses on everybody. A double kill for Kog'Maw now, and it's getting bad for Final 5. Starting to fall. There's number 1. Number 2 is going to go down. Nintended will stay alive, and Veritas going to get chunked out by Nian Tanso.
Yo, man, look at me, man. I got on the jewels. Look at my shoes, man. I'm sharp. Man, I look good. I look good. I look exactly the way you wish you could. I look good. I look good. Come on. I'm in love with a girl that I call old school. Sipping on my brandy, I'm feeling brand new. Got the feather in my hat because I'm just that cool. You peeping at my alligators bent kinda slew. They peeping at me pimping cause I got all the game. And even if the day change, it's all the same. You rolling up the block, but you in the wrong lane. You hating on a brother, man, you must be insane. I look good. I look good. I look exactly the way you wish you could. I look good. I look good. Come on. I look good. I look good. I look exactly the way you wish you could. I look good. I look good. Come on. Joe said that I'm the best in the West. I got the girls singing, damn, look at how he dressed. No need to guess, just bless my finesse. I keep him in a mess, all up in this caress. Jeans, fitted, shirt, knitted. Man, she need to quit it, she already did it. She gotta be Latina cause she look mixed with it. She all up on me, so I guess she gonna get it. I look good, I look good. I look exactly the way you wish you could. I look good, I look good. Come on. I look good, I look good. I look exactly the way you wish you could. I look good, I look good. Come on. Right. Yeah. Right. Come on. Right. Come on. Yeah. Right. Come on. I look good. Right.